Oh, the earth has shifted. Something strange is upon us. Barry's in a weird location.
Yes.
He's on tour with Led Zeppelin.
Are they still alive, all of them? I don't think they are.
It is the 30th of August in the year of our Lord 2023. We're starting a little bit late because my daughter's marching band had a performance at the local American Association baseball team, Fargo Moorhead Red Hawks. So I was at that. And I just recently got home. And yeah, so that was going on. Anyway, B-Dog. How are things?
Yeah, pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quiet week. Getting over some weather. Yeah. Other than that, not much going on.
What the weather do to you?
Oh, it jacks me up.
I know. I'm just
God, like, I've been up for 2 days. Well, I took a nap earlier, but I was up for 2 days with it before that. It jacks me up a bit. There we go, got it there. And yeah, other than that. Oh, I tried to do something illegal on BGG. Scott sent his goons out to hit me.
know what you try to do.
I made a video. I'm going through my collection and making videos on it to show myself how to play them later on because I'm forgetting how to play games. But I made a video for Carcassonne maps, and the rules go for East or West map. So I tried to upload one video to 2 separate pages, and it won't let me do it. And I asked Scott, and he told me why. And I understand why, but I just thought it was weird, So I tried to illegally do something.
You fought the law.
And Scott got upset, sent his goons out. Nikki came over here and whooped my ass. She was upset. She had to take a red flight from LA.
Oh. Oh, excuse me. Anything new happened for you in the last week or so? Besides the weather and strumming your guitar and screwing up BGG?
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, pretty much not. Jen's getting over a cold finally.
Yeah.
I feel every time she goes on vacation, she gets sick, like within the first day or two.
Is it because of all the weird plague that she's encountering?
Well, yeah, she's exposed to people all day, every day. I just think that she's running her body at low. She works 6 days a week.
Well, somebody has to.
I used to.
Yeah, I think the what was it? I think the operating word there is used.
Well, I can't anymore. If I could, I would be working. I just mentally I can't. I can't focus enough. I noticed that doing quite a few things. But yeah, she just runs herself down. Yeah. She doesn't have to. She makes her own schedule, but
Fair. Life is fair. So I did have something happen today, and I don't know if you saw it in the super secret Alaboom group online, but we had a backer who
I did see. I didn't read it though.
no, this is the synopsis. We had a backer that backed a campaign of ours, and then they said they never got it, which fine. Stuff gets lost all the time, whatever. So they contacted us. We said, hey, we're happy to send that to you. But since you contacted us super late, the tracking is super old, so it's no longer valid. So we can't really, happy to send you a replacement game. We just ask that you pay the shipping. They're like, all right, cool, we'll pay the shipping.
Yeah.
So they paid the shipping, and our warehouse pulled the backer data that was in our pledge manager and sent it to an old address of theirs. They had actually informed us the new address via email. So that's our bad, right? They were like,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so got sent the wrong address. And they're like, hey, where's my thing? Here's your tracking. That's going to my old address. And I was like, so I said, all right, well, I mean, your new address, old address looks like it's still in the same town. Do you have access to the old place? And they were like, no, I don't. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, I'm not gonna pester you, I mean, just like whatever. And I was like, it's our bad. Didn't send it out. I was like, all right, well, then I will get another one of these out to you. I apologize for the error. Just, give us a few days to get it in the mail to you, and whatever. And they wrote back and they're like, I don't even really want that game anymore. Do you think you could, because of all the trouble that I've been through?
Yeah.
Do you think you could just send me a deluxe copy of Last Light instead?
Did you tell him go fuck yourself?
No. So my spidey sense went off, right? And then it was like, and the thing was too, it's like, they're located like fairly close to our warehouse in Missouri.
Oh,
and so I was just kind of like, well, that's, I mean, and I was thinking, too, it's like, oh, well, at first I checked to see if the first package got sent off, and then my spidey sense went off, and I was like, all right, so I, it was, and the thing was, it was for Arcana Rising, which, we don't have a lot of those copies left, but we still have a few, and it's just kind of like, but I mean, that was like, a $40 game versus, Last Light's like $180 game, it's just kind of like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
So I know it does sound a little sketchy, but I Googled the old address and I just Googled it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it said it was a house for rent. And I was like, oh, okay, the guy must have been living there, right? Like a house for rent. And so I looked and see the company that was handling the rental. It's the guy that said he never got it that owns, and it's a rental property of his. And then I went even further and I asked to look at the signature that they had, and the guy, it was the person signed that name. Now that doesn't mean that guy signed it. I mean, anybody could say, oh, can you sign this, please? Because it's, and John Smith or whatever. I'm not going to say names or anything like that, but it was just like, so that doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, like, you see the signature, doesn't mean nothing. I mean, like, anybody could say, oh yeah, you John Smith? Yeah, I'm John Smith. Okay, we'll sign here, please. And then they just, they write John Smith, right? But I was just like, yeah, no. I mean, and then I was like gonna try to call him out on it, but I realized there's no way we could prove it, right? He could say, oh yeah, sure, I own that rental property, but I mean, somebody else who lived there or whatever took it, or who knows. So instead I just said, no, I do apologize. I won't be doing that for you. I will just send you the game that you requested. I'll send you Arcana Rising, and you can be super excited to have that and to go along with most likely the other copy of it that you have already. Yeah. And I realize that like 99% of our backers don't pull stuff like that. But man, when you catch somebody that does that, it really, I don't know.
It just seems like a lot of work to get a game.
I mean, I know, and I might be completely wrong. Maybe he's completely maybe he's completely on the up and up. I have no idea. So, but
I'm not saying you're right or wrong here, but I mean, people do this. It just seems like a lot of work to get a free game. Yeah.
Hey, a lot of work. Well, I mean, if Last Light was going to cost him $200, I mean, that's a fair amount of work for a couple $100. I don't know. Who knows?
At some point, you got to spend money on the base game, though. I mean, you might get the extra stuff for free, but you're not going to get refunded. eventually you had to pay for it at some point in the Kickstarter. So it's still a lot of work for extra parts or whatever. I mean, but I don't think like that. Like I said, with the board game geek thing, Scott told me why you can't do that, and that would never have crossed my mind. Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
I guess it's the way I think. Yeah.
That was annoying.
I'm sure. Did you get it resolved?
Well, no, I'm just gonna send another one, and then I actually then was like, okay, and then we will not. I verified the address with him twice. And then it's one of those things where we're gonna pay the extra, $3 that he has to sign for it, and the whole thing. So just not gonna play the game anymore.
Not gonna play the game anymore. Yeah, I don't play it. It is a game. Oh, Big
But-
A's here.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Oh, I was waiting for Scott to get here. So I've got grievances. Multiple.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Multiple. So my first grievance.
Here we go.
Oh, just going right into it.
Go
No. I guess
Fuck you, Scott. We don't care how you are.
It's good to see you, Scott.
I'm doing all right.
It's good to see you, Scott. It's good to
We
see
never
you.
liked
but
Scott anyway.
we're gonna dive into my grievances.
Okay, cool.
So, and this is so Kabuki is gonna lose her mind because I'm gonna say my first grievance was at the McDonald's. Yes, that
Oh,
McDonald's.
Why do you keep going back to the fucking McDonald's? We went through this.
So, my son, if you follow me on the Facebooks, you'll see my son was awarded his black belt.
How old is he?
He's 11.
How do you get a black belt at 11?
There's different layers of it, Scott. It's
It is called a junior black belt.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. I'll stop. Yeah, comment.
well, I mean, he
I'm sure it's
it's
incredible.
still an
amount of work.
achievement, yeah, but it's
No,
it's
yeah,
not
I mean,
like
believe
an
me,
adult, yeah. Mhm.
I did nothing like that as a child, so obviously.
And when he's 15, he'll be allowed to test for his, non-junior, his adult,
Right.
his adult black belt. And in the meantime, he will continue studying under. I mean, it's so there's only a few. I mean, there's only like I don't know how many, but in Taekwondo, there's only there's a very small number of people that are ninth Dan, which is like the top ninth level black belts, and one of them happens to live in Moorhead, Minnesota, and he teaches Northwest martial arts, and he is.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just he's really learning from one of the.
How many years has he been doing it?
This is his 6th year. He started when he was 5. So
That's impressive.
so
We'll see what happens when he turns 13.
Yeah.
13,
He
I
said
feel,
he-
was that year that
That'll go
things
away
change.
the dodo.
He
Yeah.
has-
Other
Yeah.
interests around come around, if you know what I
That's
mean.
true. But he did say I want to stick with it until I get my true black belt, is what he said.
Yeah. I had a
And-
friend who did that when
and
he was
so-
that age, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just so the Gilbertsons, Roy Gilbertson is the ninth level, and then his wife Teresa, I think she's a 5th level black belt. They run the studio, and they have a 3rd level black belt. And his name is Taylor. And if you follow me on Facebook, you can Google, you can see both Roy and Taylor next to Caleb. And the plan is that because Roy is 63, I think, if I remember correctly. But the plan is that Taylor's going to take over the studio, and he will, and then over a period of time. And Taylor and Caleb have talked. I mean, Taylor has told him that he said that as long as I hope that you continue to follow it, and he said if you stay around here, I mean, just he's like, I would love for you to be one of my instructors when you get because and the cool thing is Taylor's
So
also
dramatic.
well, I know he's but I mean he's just and Taylor's just a really cool guy, and he's pretty straightforward, and he's just awesome. He's a professional wrestler as well, which is another thing that they kind of Caleb likes going to watch wrestling with me, and we watch wrestling. Payback, WWE Payback is on Saturday. So I mean, stuff like that. But anyway, it's one of those things where they've been a good influence on me. But so anyway, the whole point of me telling that is because we were driving home. Caleb was like, "Hey, can I get a Frosty or whatever, or a McFlurry?"
Oh,
or whatever.
Frosties.
Yeah. And so he said, "Can I get a McFlurry?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
McFlurry. I don't know what those are.
Well, it's the same thing.
It's
Is
a
that the
thicker
Frosty?
Frosty,
Is that the
yeah.
Frosty version for Star
It's
Trek
yeah.
versus Star Wars? McDonald's versus Wendy's.
It's
Yeah, but they
It's-
throw
it's-
candy in the
It's
McFlurries.
ice
Oh,
cream,
they add a
ice
little
cream
extra
with
100
like
calories in there?
they take a couple of Oreos and grind them up in the ice cream, that kind of thing.
A blizzard of sorts.
Yes,
A
exactly.
blizzard
Yeah,
of-
sort of. Yeah.
So he's like, I
Concrete.
said, you betcha. Oh, concrete mixer,
You
Culver's.
betcha.
Yeah, there you go, baby. Anyways, and I said, sure. You're a black belt. We'll go get it. And I text, my family, hey, we're gonna go through, and it's like people are like, oh, I'll give you some nuggets and give me this. Okay, fine, whatever. So I'm sitting there, and like on the drive-throughs, there's the 2 lanes now.
10-piece McNugget.
And you gotta pick the right one, right? You gotta it's
Yes,
like, okay, which
there's
one's-
always a choice, right? You have the in
Yeah.
lane or the out lane.
Yeah.
So I remember
If there's a
Always
car
pick
there,
the
what do you
wrong
do?
one.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
there's a car, if there's 2 cars there, which one?
So there's several cars, and I picked the one closest to the building. Doesn't matter. I picked one. And I always pick wrong.
pick the
I
lane.
always pick wrong. And my wife just laughs because she's like, "You're gonna pick wrong, so it doesn't matter." As my friend Shad said, whenever we would play, when we played poker, and the classic is like when you go all in with a pocket pair, like Queens versus Ace King. It's like a 50-50 shot. Like
Coin flip.
You got 2 over. It's a coin flip. And my friend Shad always said it can't be 50-50 if I lose every time. Just like, but that was one of my favorite lines he ever said about poker. But anyway, no, and so it's the same thing. So I'm sitting there, and I immediately was like, this isn't good, because I'm watching. How you can like see somebody in their side mirror.
If you see like some movement in a car when someone's making an order, what is your gut
That-
feeling there? When you
that,
see
like-
movement in a car, like hands in the air, or like
they're like, and I can
heads going like this,
and I can
I'm
tell.
gonna be here a while.
Yeah, I can
It's gonna be a
tell-
while.
I can tell this woman's got like a coupon in her hand. She's like waving this
Coupon.
coupon. Do you guys have the Blue Book coupons around where you are?
No.
So
I know
up
they
here,
are,
yeah, but up here, like there's kids.
They sell. No, there's no kids in this neighborhood.
Yeah, well, the kids are like, they you want to buy the coupon book? It's $25. Support the marching band or whatever, and you buy it, and you get a big giant
I've
thing
heard of
full of
such
all
a
these
thing.
coupons, and you never use any of them,
Yeah, of
because
course.
you
what a
forget
pain
where
in
it
the
is, and you never have it with you when you're anywhere you are. But anyway, so and I can see she's got one of these coupons, and she's like waving it around, and she's kind of going back and forth, and I'm watching as cars are just going.
Other cars are going like,
yeah.
choo, choo,
And
and
I'm
you're
just
stuck.
like-
You can't switch.
But then it really
can't
what was
switch
weird.
lanes.
What was really weird was all of a sudden, like everything got gummed up, like nobody was moving, and I was like, "Well, this is weird." And I had cars behind me, and I was sitting there, and I could see this woman, and she's like saying, and like she's shaking her head, and she's making things, and at one point, I can hear her over. I'm listening to the Twins game on the radio, and Caleb's just chilling. He's just doing whatever, and I hear her go. I hear this woman clear as day. Hello, just like. And I was like, so in my mind, I was like, if I had a catapult, I would just heave this woman's car like 70 miles away. I was just like, why? Why am I sitting here for like 5-10 minutes? I'm just sitting here waiting. And I had all this anger and frustration for us, and it was completely and totally misplaced. Because when she finally pulled forward and I got up to the line, I realized that whoever they had taking the orders had no clue what they were doing. It was like, what can I get you? And I was just like, I need a 10-piece McNugget meal with sweet and sour sauce and a Diet Coke, and it's like, and then they're like, what kind of sauce do you want? Sweet and sour sauce. And
What kind of drink was that?
yeah, did you need anything else? I was like, I need another 10-piece McNugget meal with, I was like, with a Dr. Pepper with sweet and sour sauce. And I'm watching, and like the old orders being
Sweet
deleted.
sour sauce still a thing?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
wondering if that was still a thing.
the old order like is like being deleted and then brought back up, and then it's getting deleted.
All right,
and brought
because now
back
they
up,
have
and-
screens. You can see
Yeah,
how
and I'm
they're
watching it.
intelligent.
I'm just
You
watching
can
this.
see how
It-
stupid
you can
they
see
are.
It
how
was
Yeah.
like this person was just hammering on the keyboard and like.
By the way, a lot of these orders now are not done in the store.
oh
they're
no,
done-
no,
yeah,
it's,
no.
They're
it's
done
a,
in,
it's a,
in a who knows where they're taking those
India,
orders.
yeah.
it's yeah. So they're
Yeah, I
just
was
sitting
like,
there,
what? How
and
is that?
like, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and then she, and then there was like this thing where they're like, and then I was like, do you want anything else? And I said, yeah, I need. They have a peanut butter crunch McFlurry right now, which is literally the Captain Crunch peanut butter crunch thing, and they grind that up into the ice cream.
Sounds
And I was
delicious.
like, and I said, I
Because
need.
full calories and sugar.
I said, I need
Yeah.
2 peanut butter crunch McFlurries, and
Oh my
she's
god,
like,
I want one so bad now. I've
and
been
then-
craving like crazy lately. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm off the meds. It's basically a nationwide shortage. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
That's what it is, Scott. You're off.
So
Big
so
confidence.
so they sit there, and then they and so all of a sudden I watch, and all of the stuff vanishes, and I see 2 Oreo McFlurries, $8, and I'm like, no. And then she's like, did you need anything else? And I said, and I need 1 cheeseburger. You know, and then all of a sudden, like, one of the McFlurries goes away, and then a cheeseburger comes up, and she's like, your
Glitchy.
total will be $6.89. I was like, no,
That's not
I
right.
said I ordered. I was like, you and I have been talking now for like 9 minutes. Nobody else is here. I ordered 2 happy, and then she finally just said, just go to the window and order it there.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
I mean, like mid scream, like it was a YouTube video. And so I get up, to the window, and this, and
Oh my God.
and this,
So-
this, and she's like, "Did you?" She says, "Did you have the cheeseburger and the McFlurry?" I said, "Yes." But I ordered a ton more, and then whoever was there told me to order at the front. She slams her headset down, and then she comes over and she like leans out the window. How can I help you, sir? She just so I don't know if like whoever
my
they
God.
had taking the orders had screwed up everything, and this poor woman was getting everybody there was, and I was just. But I was just.
You could hear the guy. So someone was behind you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you heard the words.
Doing the same thing.
Hello. Yeah. Oh
But yeah,
that's hilarious.
so I mean, I just had to laugh about it after the fact, but I was just kind of like, you know, I mean,
I don't know. It's not that
and-
funny,
and-
but like it's kind of funny to me for some reason.
but when
It's
I
funny
got,
to me too.
but when I got all the food, it was all made correctly. I got home, you know, it was fine. You know, it was fine.
McDonald's makes the food. I mean, I told you guys I worked at McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a machine.
Yeah.
There's nothing left to chance.
No.
Well,
I'm honestly
that's-
surprised that they messed up the order so badly. The order.
That's
taking-
the human error. That's just packing.
You know, and what's so dumb is that I should just download that stupid McDonald's app and just
Yeah, and then
order
just do it yourself and
it.
just
just
say,
do it yourself, because then you
Mobile
never
order
have
for
to deal with
Lance,
another
Mike,
person.
sir.
Yeah,
you
you just
still got to deal with it. What Jen does that to the point where she'll
Lance
pull
M.
into the parking lot, sit there, do the order on the app, and then drive to the drive-thru. I mean,
yeah.
but they
That's what
still
they're forcing
screw it
everybody
up.
to now.
Well, I
They're
really,
sort of
I
forcing
because
everybody.
I hate that because they have that fake voice that starts off with the drive-through. Hi, welcome to McDonald's. Are you using the app today? And you're like, no.
Oh, is that a
And-
thing now? It's like
Yeah, and
critical.
then you say no, and then there's
So-
this pause, and you hear this. All right, go ahead and order when you're ready. I was like, that's
So
obvious.
like Michelle and I go to McDonald's for the cones
Oh yeah.
Okay.
because the cones are pretty good. And they're pretty low calorie actually. Not low calorie, but it's of enough calories that I'm not like not crazy. I've noticed lately that, and this is over time, you know, I'm old. The people on the other side just say hello,
Pretty much.
like, or go ahead.
Yeah.
It's
There's
not
no
like
customer
and I
service
thought there was
anymore.
a hello, welcome to McDonald's. How can I help you? That's gone. Those are
Yeah.
gone. Those days are gone. It's just, what do you want? What do you want? What do you have?
Yeah.
Am I alone? I mean, we're old, right? So I mean, we know how it was.
It's.
and
I
worked-
noticed it's. I'm sorry, Scott, go ahead.
No, I feel like there was a more of a preamble.
I noticed it's not only at McDonald's, it's pretty much everywhere. There's none of that like customer service training anymore.
Yeah, I guess it's just, I guess I feel like it was maybe a pandemic thing. Could be.
Could be, yeah.
Could be a pandemic thing.
Well,
Yeah.
people aren't interacting with anybody anymore either. You got the apps doing everything, so there's no reason to talk to anybody. Yeah.
Right.
Jenna, it actually bothers Jenna. She has to call to order somewhere. She'd rather do it on the app.
So here's a minor gripe. This is another
Did you have a
minor.
coupon?
here's a
Okay, that's the
minor.
one.
That's one. Here's a
That's
this
one.
is a minor.
One
This
of
is a
how
very-
many? 10?
Yeah, it was a good week for Goons. So this was a minor one. But last winter, the taillight on my pickup got cracked and broken. Now nothing else was busted. So the only thing I can imagine what happened is that when the snowplow came by, it must have clipped it. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But who knows? Because it was
Water could have
parked
got
in
in
my
there and cracked it. You never know.
well, no, it was
freezes.
parked in
Yeah.
my driveway. I parked in my driveway. The snowplow came early in the morning. I came back out. The thing was busted in the snow. I mean, it was just a lot of things.
Yeah.
Who knows? Doesn't matter. I'm not whatever. They're not going to admit it, and they probably didn't even know, right?
Probably not.
So forever, I was like, I need to get it fixed. Need to get it fixed. Need to get it fixed. And then, it rained really heavy. And then both of the bulbs went out on it. So I was like, they probably shorted out from the water.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I need to replace this stupid thing. And it's an older Dodge. So I mean, it isn't like it's a big thing. I just need to order the part and screw the new
Well,
plate in and stuff like that.
so you think?
No. I read in the user manual that came with my
No, I
2000.
mean the part itself. Get the part, not the.
Oh no, I found the part. I found the part super cheap. It was like $28 online. Had it in 3 days. It was just like
Lucky. There's
Whatever.
not a lot of shortages on car parts. Yeah.
when I bought the part, I went in and looked at the thing, and I said, looked at the thing because I was like, do I have to buy the bulbs as well, right?
Yeah, you do.
And then it was like, oh no, it doesn't come with the bulbs. You just get the part, and that's it. I was like, all right, fine. So I looked up which bulbs are used for both the top bulb and the bottom bulb.
I know where you go with the can't find the bulbs.
No, I found the part. No. So I went one place and I couldn't find them because they were all gone. But then I looked, and then like my local Ace Hardware of all places had them. For a package of you get 2 bulbs, package of 2 bulbs for $5, and I had to get one of each. So that's stupid too. I was like, oh great, so I'm gonna have these extra ones. Why? Who cares? So I went there this morning because my package was going to deliver today with the taillight, the taillight cover. And I went up and the lady, she was sitting there, and she's like, oh yeah, it's like, hey, okay, I got those in like a root beer or whatever. And she's like, that'll be whatever it was, $14 or whatever it was. And she's like, do you want your receipt? And I was like, no, I don't need a receipt. I hate receipts. So here, cool, something I can throw away now. And she's like, well, you don't think you're going to need to return that stuff? I was like, a root beer and some bulbs? No, I'm good. Thanks, though. So I left. My part got dropped off. The goddamn thing had bulbs inside it. Even though the thing said it has no bulbs. So now I don't know if I'm going to be able to return that. Minor annoyance. Just say it says right thing. No bulbs included. You need to purchase the bulbs somewhere else. But then they include them in the damn thing.
So they get lucky. What are you complaining about? You got a free part.
But now I gotta figure out a way to return that stuff. And I
Well, your
went to the
dumbass
trouble.
didn't get a receipt.
Well, I know because I didn't get the receipts.
It's a bulb, Lance. They blow. You'll use it eventually.
No, I won't. I was annoying. That was a very, very again minor. Now this is the one that's stuck in my craw, and it is severely stuck in my craw. So you guys know I told you about the fact that our dishwasher exploded, flooded up the entire top thing. We've got a contractor. We know what kind of flooring we want to get. And we yeah, I did pay cash, stick H. I know it's stupid. Anyway, so I was like, so the flooring that we want doesn't come back in stock until this like later this fall. And so we're kind of waiting on that. We're waiting to get that stuff so we can have it to do our thing. And so we it's like stick H. I know you're trying to be helpful, man, but you're just rubbing it in right now. Just so you know, you're rubbing it in.
I'd like
plus-
stick H.
And plus,
How much were the bulbs?
a
$5.
package of 2 for $5. I spent $10. So
Worried about $5.
maybe I will
Much money is
maybe I
included
will go to
stupid
Ace
shit.
back to Ace Hardware and get my store credit. Maybe I will. So I can buy a hatchet or something. I don't know.
I'd hate to see your blood pressure, Lance.
So, I actually have surprisingly low blood pressure, and my doctor always says you are in good shape for the shape you're in. But no. So I when it blew up, called the insurance company, went through the whole process. State Farm Insurance. I don't really have any major league complaints about State Farm. They've been very fair to me, very good to me. However, I had one situation where it was like, so the guy came and he's like, so what exploded? And they're like, here, this is the dishwasher that went bad. And the guy said, okay, do you know what failed on it? And then they were like, yeah, it's this part here. And it's like this, I told you what the part. And so the guy took the part and he's like, yeah, so we'll take this and we'll send it to this department, he says, that will look at it, and then they will see if they can, because if it's a part that shouldn't have failed, then they'll ask the manufacturer, basically like, hey, your stupid thing broke, so you need to pay for a new dishwasher for these people, that kind of thing. And I don't know how it works.
Well, probably also all the other damage too, right? Because insurance companies do that.
So it doesn't matter. They do something like that, right? So the guy took the part, off he goes, whatever. And I asked the guy, what do I do with this dishwasher? He's like, oh, you can get rid of it. And I was like,
would
cool.
not have.
Shut up, Barry. So I was like, all right, cool. Now, getting rid of the dishwasher is yet another grievance that I'm going to talk about here in just a moment. But then earlier this week, the guy that's handling my claim called me and he was like, hey, so just checking on this, that, and the other thing about the claim. And I was like, cool, whatever. And we kind of went back and forth a little bit. And then he was like, just so you know, our subrogation committee needs the model number and the serial number of your dishwasher. And I said, well, I don't have it anymore. And he's like, well, why don't you have it anymore? I was like, because your guy told me I could get rid of it. So I got rid of it. And he's like, well, can you find it in any of the other information you have? And I was like, what information? I don't own it anymore. I don't need manuals for it. I don't need anything. And he's like, well, do you know what kind of dishwasher it was? I was like, I know exactly what kind of dishwasher it was. And so he's like, well, can you find out what the model and serial number is? And I was like, well, I mean, I could Google it, or you could. Yeah, I was just like, why am I doing this? I was like, you know what, I'll try to figure it out. I'll try to get it. No big deal. Right. So then I called the guy back after I figured it out. And I said, this is the model number, this is the serial number. He's like, awesome. He's like, do you have, and he asked me for like a couple other things. And I was just like, I don't have the dishwasher now because your company told me to get rid of it. He's like, well, yeah, but our subrogation department wants this stuff from the dishwasher. And I was like, cool. I don't have it anymore. And then he said, well, it's like, well, I mean, we need that so we can file a claim against Whirlpool so we could possibly get some of your deductible refunded. And I was like, well, I don't have it anymore because you told me to get rid of it. He's like, well, no, the subrogation committee didn't tell you to get rid of it. The claims handler told you to get rid of it. And I said, it's the subrogation department. Do they work for State Farm? He's like, yeah, they work for State Farm. And so this guy works for State Farm too. Yeah. So State Farm told me to get rid of it. And now I don't have it. And now State Farm's saying I need it. And then he said again, well, no, the subrogation department said that you want
He's covering his ass. That's all it is.
No. I was just like, I was like, and whatever this guy's name was, I can't remember. I was like, this guy, because he mentioned the name a couple times, came to my house. He's like, yes. He took the part. Yes. And I asked him if I could get rid of the dishwasher, and he said, get rid of it. Yes. And he works for State Farm. Yes. And I was like, and then subrogation department now is saying they need it, and they work for State Farm. Yes. So you can see where that's not my fault. You know, it's like, and then he said, well, it wasn't like it was money you could count on anyway, was how he said it.
We got all our money back when we had the leak. Yeah, washing machine.
Just,
You had a good adjuster.
That was all State.
I just,
But here's when we got it back years later.
Yeah, it takes a while.
It took a lot of years. It was
Any
like
claim does. Yeah, it
10
takes.
grand.
I was livid. I was just like, and I said, and then the guy was like, he could tell I was getting mad, and then he was starting to get short with me.
Mm.
And this guy had always been really, really polite, Mr. Meixter and Mr. Mike, he was very, very, and then like the first time ever, like he got kind of upset and he said, Lance. He said like that to me, and I was like, we don't know each other well enough to use his name.
You can't use that tone of voice.
Yeah.
It's just like mother humper.
But I mean, I don't understand. It's such a weird. What?
Well, it's all a game. It's so they don't have to pay money. So
The tech should have the serial number when he took the port off. He should have that information written down somewhere.
well, according there had been a bunch of hail damage in the area, so he was and it, like so like he was like, we'll just get this one handled quick because I got so many hail damage claims I gotta track down and chase down. But this one's easy. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. So the last one I had was, so I was like, I had all this stuff that needed to go to the dump, or as they eventually call it, the transfer station now, which
Transfer station.
they
Yeah,
call
yeah,
it
that too.
because they don't call it a dump because we transfer your garbage to our garbage. Is what the transfer station is.
Right.
And I
That
remember,
makes no sense.
and so I always thought it was weird that the transfer station or the dump was located like well within city limits, and it was like because they just would pile the stuff up and they'd send trucks to pick it all up and then they take it out to the main dump or whatever. And so I packed up the back of my pickup with a bunch of stuff. It was mostly like old rugs and nothing you could sell. And just like, and it was old rugs and some like waste lumber, the dishwasher, I mean, it was a ton of stuff.
The serial number you need.
I loaded it all up in the back of my pickup, and I drove to where the transfer station is because I've been there. And this was, I forget what the date was now. It was last week, and I pulled up in front of the old and also I brought all of like our like old paint and like stuff that we didn't use because they have a chemical thing where you can drop it off and they dispose of it. They probably just dump it in a drain somewhere, but theoretically they dispose of it correctly. So I drove to the little transfer station. I get there, it's all fenced off. And there's a big sign that says the transfer station is now closed. It had closed the day before. I was like, what? What? And then they were like, we are now located at this place.
I need.
It's just like we are now located at this
I need to
place.
figure out how to take advantage of this somehow.
Where it's and where's this place? It's where the elephants go to die. 7,000 miles out of town. And I was just like, son of a bitch. So I drive out there because they got me. And so I called one of my old high school friends just to like, because we're in a fantasy football league together. And I knew I could just BS with him for like the 25 minutes it was going to take for me to drive all the way out to this place. So we're BSing about football and talking about whatever, because I hadn't talked to him in a while. And I drive all the way out to this place. And let me tell you, for a dump, this place looked really nice. It was like a brand new spanking dump.
Of course, you're the first customer.
No, I definitely wasn't. So I pulled in and I was just like, and I pulled up and there was like a toll booth. And it was so cool. I'll say this about this place. It's so cool. They weigh your car
truck,
on the way in, and then they weigh your car on the way out. And depending upon how much you get rid of out of the car, that's how much you pay, right?
It's nothing
And-
new, Lance.
No, I've never seen it before. At the transfer station,
okay.
at the old transfer station, you just
I've done
back
it,
your
so
you just back your pickup up to this big giant trough that they have, and you just basically shove everything off the end of your pickup, and the guy comes on and goes, $20, and you go, okay, it's $20, and you leave. And
they're
anyway,
cracking down. They want to make money. That's what it is.
so I go there, and the lady says, what do you got? And I said, I got like rugs and some waste lumber and a dishwasher. She's like, only one appliance? I said, yeah, only one appliance. And she's like, all right. And she hands me this little sheet that has like some check marks on it. She's like, when you come back, we'll weigh you and we'll figure out what you owe. And I was like, cool. So I pull in, I was like, where do I go? She's like, go in through like, there's like all these like freaking, standalone warehouses. And she's like, go to warehouse 2 and they'll take care of you. And I was like, all right, cool. So I go in this warehouse 2 and this lady comes over and she's like, what do you got? And I was like, I got a dishwasher and I got a thing. And I was like, I was thinking, are you guys like, and she's like, okay, just go over to that one. The lumber goes in 4. Everything else can go in number 2. And there's these giant freaking containers, dump containers, and they're all like 8 feet tall, like I mean, this tall for me. And I'm like, oh, okay, and you're just supposed to, and there's no like ramps or anything. It's like you just walk up to them and they're this freaking tall. So I get in there and there's this guy and he kind of walks over to the pickup and he's looking at me. And I was like, okay. And I was like, oh, is he gonna, because at the transfer station, the guys would come over and they'd help you toss everything out the back and into this giant trough. And this guy's just kind of staring at me. And I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, and I was for a half a second, I thought, is he gonna help me with this stuff? Or is he just, I was like, okay, whatever. And I start getting the dishwasher because this is the first thing. And dishwashers aren't exceedingly heavy. I mean, they're not light, but they're not really
Just
heavy.
cumbersome.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh yeah, he's like, that can go in number 2. And he points at this thing. And again, this thing is 8 feet tall. So I guess I'm just supposed to grill him on stew and just like, but then I see there's another freaking dishwasher sitting right next to the dumpster.
Yeah, because they go to Monster.
So I say to him, I was like, well, can I just put it next to the other one? And he's like, oh yeah, that'll work too. Is what he said. I was like, okay, cool. So I start getting all this waste lumber out and I walk over. That's easy. You just throw lumber up into this thing or whatever. And the guy's just still staring at me. And I was like, and he's just kind of standing there. And not like off to the side either. Like he's like 6 feet from the back of my pickup. And I'm like, I'm grabbing stuff and I'm throwing it away, grabbing stuff, throwing away, grabbing stuff, throwing away. There's this one chunk of metal that's like this long. And he's like, is that metal? I was like, yeah. Oh, I can throw that in the recycling. And he takes that. He walks over to this other container. It's like 1,000 feet. Just boom, drops it in there. I was like, oh, thank you. It's just like, so then I grab. So everything is fine. But I knew the one thing that was going to frickin' suck was this like 12 by 16 foot area rug that's all rolled up and it weighs 1,000,000 fucking pounds.
Yeah,
and it's rolled up and I'm grabbing it and I'm pulling it out and I'm just in dust and sickness and whatever is like piling out of it as I'm moving. This guy's just staring at me doing this. And I grab this thing and I bring it over to the container and I put it up against the side and I grabbed it again. This guy's just staring at me watching this. And I pick up the one end and I'm like just sitting there, this like crushing weight. And I'm trying to lift it up. And it gets to the end. And I'm like, I just about got it. And it slips out of my hand. The whole thing comes barreling down, scrapes the side of my face. And just like all I can taste is like dust and garbage and all this stuff. And then the guy says, oh, you can just leave that right there. We'll get a forklift to do it. I was like,
Oh my god, you're killing me tonight.
I was just,
I love the problems you cause yourself.
I literally
I'm surprised you
said,
give yourself like a.
I literally said, thank you.
There's a few things I would handle different.
It would have been nice for you to tell me that 5 minutes ago.
Just, yeah, just get back, just
Oh my
get back into my pickup. I
Wow.
drive out. Wait, charge me $16.11. And then she said, what happened to your face? It's like, nothing.
Oh my god.
Ah,
Lance, you're killing me this week.
I just,
Oh my gosh.
I just couldn't believe it. I was
What
just,
happened to your face?
well, you know how, because you know how the back of those rugs are.
Yeah, of course. It's those things are.
Yeah.
I can
Because
imagine.
it's
Yeah.
supposed so it sticks. It doesn't move when it's on the floor, right? It just was like, oh yeah, we can get we can get a forklift in here. We'll take care of that for you.
Yeah, he
Oh,
works
man.
smarter, not harder. Unlike you.
I like Kabuki Kid.
Die.
It's like Kabuki Kid. Like, oh, that guy, yeah, he doesn't work here. Just like a guy.
He just collects a
Just-
check.
Yeah, it's just hanging out of
He's
the
just
dump.
hanging out.
He's just hanging out of the
It's just
dump.
hanging out. I've only been to I've been to the dump a couple times here in Dallas, and it's always it's a different world for sure.
I've been to quite a few. Being in construction, it was different. Up here anyway, in Philly and Delaware, I think you don't have to pay for your trash unless it's construction material. So I always have to go and get the truck weight and all that, concrete and wood and all that, or appliances.
Yeah. There's I remember going to the dump years and years and years with my dad for some reason. I don't remember what it was anymore. I think he was trying to find an auto part or something. But I have gone to the dump in Fargo a few times because they literally will there's like a week to 10 days where if you have a garden or if you if you have any kind of need for compost, they basically, because they bring all the yard waste to the dump as well. They create giant piles of compost, and for free you can just go there and just shovel it like in the back of a pickup or whatever, or put it in barrels if you want. So if you're a gardener and you just want that stuff, they'll do that. So but yeah, anyway, I mean that's I mean it's the whole idea of the landfill is just, I think the craziest thing about the landfills are like you're in the middle of nowhere, there's no water anywhere to be seen, and all you see is seagulls.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Yeah,
there's no water.
Yeah.
They just love that garbage. Just,
Of course, it's free food.
oh, of course.
You don't have to fight for your food like they do.
They're doing their part, I
Damn
just,
goals. Actually, when I went to physical therapy, they had silhouettes of, it was a dog, but it was also, I think it was an owl or something, for the seagulls to try and spook them. And then every once in a while, they shoot off some kind of a recording over a speaker because the seagulls got so bad there, I guess. It's amazing what they had to go through to get rid of the deterrence that we created. I'm not fond of seagulls. You go on the beach, they attack you. Nasty birds. I caught one fishing once. That was fun.
you caught a seagull while fishing?
I was using live bait. I went to cast it. The goal grabbed it in midair, took it. Yeah. I cut the line, let him go. Wasn't fighting with him.
You let him go.
Let him go. Hopefully he lived. I don't know. The hook got him somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah.
Interesting times.
Yes. Seagulls.
Gosh, I can't think of anything this week that is even close to the entertainment of that hour of talking.
Yeah, well, it's unexpected.
I can't quite think of any. I mean, I played some games.
What you play, Scott?
Yeah, lay it on us.
Yeah, we played well, we first played some pinball. We hadn't played pinball in a while, so we played some pinball, which was fun.
Yeah.
And then we came back and it was of course 110. So
Still.
you know, it's ridiculously hot
Yeah.
here. Although today was not so bad. It actually, I don't think it got above 92. Played the Castles of Burgundy special edition.
What do you think of it? Any difference?
It's not worth
really?
it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be negative. I was really trying to be positive about it, but I
Yeah,
found at
sure.
least 4 to 5 problems with the game that I would have not done if I was making that game. There was like
Well-
little usability things that I was just like, so they made this big stink about like, oh, the icons are so much bigger and you can read them better. And I'm like, they're not that big still, and you can't read them. And they made some decisions on iconography that I'm like, I don't agree with. And they rotated things on the board, and some things were rotated and some things were not rotated. I'm like, you have this monstrous amount of space and you start rotating things. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Turn my head? I don't know. It was just odd things.
What's the difference?
That
is
I
because,
just feel like if you had printed it all out and set it on a table and started playing it, you would have been like, oh, that's a problem. I mean, it's a great addition. Don't get me wrong. However, the most important thing, in which they don't sell anymore at all, you cannot go buy, are the acrylic tiles. The acrylic tiles are fantastic. You know, all the hex tiles that you get, you know, you draw them out and you put them out on the, you know, the bid boards. You know, Castle of Burgundy, right?
Yeah.
You have 6 spaces for like 4 or 5 tiles in each. I think it's 4 or 5 tiles in each space. So you're playing like 30 tiles a turn.
Yeah.
And then you use your dice to either buy a tile or like put a tile on your board. It's like a dice worker placement, and you can like modify your dice. The dice I don't love. I don't think they're great. They're very light. I rolled so many doubles. I was like, this. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, doubles are part of gaming, but I rolled 4 doubles in a row constantly. And I kept pointing it out to everybody. I'm like, I rolled doubles again, just as, you know, sort of like an aside. You know, you rolled like 30 times. And it's not that many times, but I think you roll. Yeah, I think you roll about 30 times in that game. Doubles, maybe half the time. Is that now? I'm not saying that's the dice's fault, but they were very light, and I didn't like the way they felt. So I don't know. Maybe they were not correct dice. I don't know. Anyway, I'm being grumpy about it, but it's a really it's a nice set. I mean, it's a lot of work. I know how I mean, it took them a lot of years to get this thing going, and it's a nice set, but I do not think it's worth the price. I would rather have the base game with acrylic tiles. Now that would be a nice, you know, the acrylic tiles are very nice. However, I feel like the iconography is still not great. You have to still play with a piece of paper that has all the buildings on it because you can't recognize what they are. You know, because there's like 10 or 15 special buildings that they don't make sense what they are, and their icon on there doesn't matter. It doesn't help you. Now you play the thing 20 times, you'll learn them, but it took us, you know, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? You know, that kind of stuff. You cannot buy those pieces on their own. Now you can buy all the buildings. I don't think that's worth it though. Like I knocked my building. I have the upgraded castles. I knocked my castle over 4 times. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, and it's only this tall. Anyway, just being grumpy about it.
You are.
But it keeps adding up, right? I'm like, what is this? This is special edition. I should have a special time playing it. And I felt none of that. I was being just grumpy all the time. Maybe it's my fault.
No, I don't think.
But anyway, you know, it's just my opinion.
Is there a
Wrong,
difference?
right?
Is there a difference between the old version and this one?
Well, they
Like
just
rules-wise?
they just did a no, the rules are the same.
Okay.
Well, there's an expansion in this thing, the Vineyards, which I never played with. That was all. We didn't play with that though. Just I'm not sure what it adds.
So it's just pretty plastic is basically what the special edition is. And an expansion, a little expansion. All right.
Yeah, if you're writing things on the reverse side, Robert, I would not agree with that. But I just feel like the iconography could be better. The buildings all look the same to me. I don't know. I feel like it just needed another art overhaul. And they've gone through the art 3 times now. I think there was the original version. There was this 10th anniversary that they put out like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something. I mean, if I showed you the picture of the cover, you would recognize it.
Yeah.
That people are buying and still valid to play.
Hey, Matthew.
I just didn't feel like it was really worth the money.
Oh,
And don't go paying $300 for it. Anybody?
It's
on eBay. Believe me.
$300.
Oh yeah, it's more than 300. If you buy all of it, it's like well over 300. It's being scalped, right? Like people are putting their
Oh, on eBay.
just crazy
Okay.
prices on eBay.
Yeah.
And BGG.
I thought you
Let
meant retail.
BGG's not alone, or eBay's not alone.
I have a crazy story.
Okay.
Hold on.
Let Scott finish his thought.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I like this story, but I
ahead.
can't. I got to remember that I have a story, so don't forget about it. Okay, go ahead.
Let me see if I can find the other version.
You were talking, Lance. You were talking about the dump.
Yeah.
I
It's
went
called
to the
Canada. That's where we take it.
I went to the dump here a little while ago, a bunch of years ago, and I had to toss some heavy stuff, but we had like they had built
Oh,
this.
yeah.
They had built this kind of elevated like a dirt pile or whatever that you could drive on, and all the dumpsters were like at floor level. You just dumped it all in, so it was like I didn't have to do the 8-foot reach.
Yeah, no, that was the worst.
Things through.
This is the version I'm talking about from 2019, which I think is quite gaudy. I don't like it at all. Like,
What
I
is
feel
that,
like
the player
I feel like the art on this.
I
is
don't
not
like
good.
the way that looks at all. I don't.
No, but that is the version you can go buy right now. It's I don't think it's got a special name for it. Maybe it's a 10th anniversary. I don't know. I mean, the game is fantastic. The artwork should be amazing too, and I don't really feel like it is.
You don't need amazing artwork for a game to be good.
But
No,
here,
you
but you
don't.
can see. I mean, the original. This is basically now they've redone the buildings. However, they still look the same to me. Like I wouldn't be able to tell them apart if you had me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just
It actually doesn't look
maybe
much
a couple
different
more
than the
iterations
base.
and find a different artist, like or just come up with a different take on it. It can be reinvented, in my opinion. Now this is the previous version. I'm not talking about the special edition, but I'll show you the special edition just so. The cover art's great. The box is
Yeah.
massively huge, though. I don't know where I'm going to keep it. So there's the new version. Now this is the castle that I had, which is ridiculous, and I knocked it over 4 times.
Are those boards double layered, Scott?
They're not double layered. You
They're
have
just
this.
thick
You have a
cardboard?
plastic
Okay.
grid. At least I don't know what the version I had. Yeah, I don't know. This looks double layered here,
Yeah, it
but they're
does.
not double layered. It is a plastic overlay that I put. It is a double layered board, but it has a very, very fine grid that you put in that the tiles sit in,
Okay.
which is nice. I like that. That was good. Why am I not? I gotta get out of this. Okay. There's the buildings. This is not the. I don't know why her hand's on that, but this is the you can see that little plastic mesh here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that, and hopefully they don't break, because they're very fine.
Okay. Yeah.
They're like little spider. I mean, they're thick, but there's
they're
the.
thin. Yeah, they're fragile.
But
yeah.
here's the dice, which I don't think they just don't look good to me.
Pretty good.
Oh gosh, what is this picture?
I don't know, Scott. What are you doing?
But it does have all the stuff on there.
Why is it so bright?
The silverlings are really nice. Yeah, it is a double layered board. So you do but these are there's some weird decisions here for sure. But I'm not a designer.
No.
There's the little spider web.
Yeah.
Wow, who took these pictures? Jeez, depth of field. And there's the vineyard expansion, which I don't know how that works, but there you go. I don't think these graphics are that great. Do I know what this means? I mean, I know what it means now. I mean, there's everything's 4 points per something, but it's 4 points for it. What tile is that? Very, very, very tiny tile. Oh, it's got a green roof. Okay, so it's got a green roof. Then I get 4 points for all green roofs. And these, you know, these have no markings. You're just supposed to sort of memorize these. Anyway,
Ah,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a, you know, I can be a critic, but I'm not going to be able. And then these, I feel like don't look good at all.
just
These
burn
were
it.
chipping. These are already chipping away, and I can see they're already chipping here, right?
That's horrible.
That's what
they're
happens
printed-
with heat transfer
They're
though.
printed on the wood. Yeah, those are
Yeah,
chipping.
that's
They
what
have no
happens with heat
sealant.
transfer.
Mine were immediately chipping.
Especially when they're like
Um,
clocking together.
Yeah, you clack them together. Yeah, that looks fun. And these
Yeah, look
are
at that. Look at that family. They're not having
This is-
fun.
This is
They
the
don't
thing
know
I'm talking
any
about on the side. I got to put these on the side. I got to rotate these 5, 6, you know, like what? Like, come on, give me a spot to put these where I'm seeing the 5, 6, 7 straight on. I mean, this is just minor things, but I'm going to be complaining about the minor. You know, I'm picking about. the
Yeah.
minor. They also have this. They have this rainbow thing, yellow, burgundy, and gray. Well, that means something.
Is that any?
Yeah, it's any yellow, burgundy, or gray tile. And then, by the way, this is microscopic. I mean, it's very tiny. I'm an old man. I can't see.
You are. Yeah.
So I have to look I have to squint to kind of see these colors.
Is
See,
it is that
Yeah.
is that stripes thing always yellow, burgundy, and gray?
No, it's different colors.
Oh, ooh,
It's
bad.
different colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have some differences.
That's very bad. Definitely.
Anyway, it's just, you know, it's not bad. It's just disappointing
It is though.
for the game that's like so great.
It's shite.
I want it to be awesome. And then these things I do not like at all. These are your point markers, by the way, which you knock over, and you cannot share a space. You can't, they don't stack. These things do stack, these little castles. That's for the turn order. That's fine.
Yeah.
But these things are way
Those are
massively
cute.
overproduced. I don't get, I mean, that one is like one of the better ones, but one of them is like very ugly. Like,
So why can't you share a point?
because you can't share a space.
No, but like legally you can't share
you
a point.
can. You can.
He's saying
your
on the
points.
board you can't
Oh,
have two of them in the
You
same
have to,
space.
you have to
Board
put them
design.
right next to each other. Yeah.
Say poo-poo stuff.
Anyway, I should be the angry gamer.
How big are
Now, these
is this
tiles
stuff?
are phenomenal. If they were just selling these for the game, like sell a board with an overlay that you can put on your own board and you can put these tiles in,
Yeah.
so many people will be happy for $20 basically.
If there was only
would-
some company that sold these bits that geeks
Yeah,
would
if there was
Yeah.
only a store that had geek bits like this.
These are basically what we would have done probably. If we were to
Still,
do a deluxe version of Castles of Burgundy bits, we would have done these tiles. And they
you
are
know
great.
there is a game.
This is
finishing
the best.
game.
And these, by the way, these are not in the box. You have to order these. You had to order these separate and they're completely sold out now and you cannot buy them. You can buy them for $100 on eBay.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like the animals are that well distinguished. Like from a distance,
Right.
are these cows? No, they're goats. But I'm zooming in like I'm, you know,
Here you go.
like the goats. There's goats and cows and pigs and sheep.
oh my.
So Scott, how much was this?
The insert
retail?
is cheap. The insert is cheap and flimsy. I'm not sure if I put everything in the right places.
Probably
I
not.
wish I had this picture. Yeah, I mean, these are nice. Someone has touched these up. That's not what they look like when you buy them.
Well, if you touch them up, they will.
But here's all the art.
How big are these buildings, Scott? Like an inch, 2 inches?
Yeah, they're a couple inches.
Okay.
Yeah, you knock them over easily. Okay, that's my grousing. However,
you go.
the game is one of the best games ever made. It's great.
Jeez.
There's the dice. I don't like the design.
Yeah.
I would
Top
rather
of
have
the-
regular pips, honestly, than
Yeah.
these,
So would I.
these diamonds.
I think they're kind of cute.
Yeah, but they're super light. They feel really like nothing.
Are they wood?
No, they're plastic, but they're very light. I don't know how they did that. There's the buildings. Like those are your castles.
Yeah.
Now these are stubby castles, but some of them are very, way taller.
She said. Sorry.
These characters are. This is the one I thought was like super ugly. This one's
Well,
not very pretty
He's
either.
like shoving a mutton
Listen,
leg in his
One of
face
these
at all
one of
times.
these are the sun drops. Oh no. Siri's listening to me and saying it just said that's not nice. So that's a sun drop. So it's been dipped in that ink, the sun
Yeah.
drop.
The
They
wash.
call it sun drop. Yeah. Oh. There's the other. Anyway, I'm a little bit disappointed. These are great. This is my 100% the best thing they've done. These tiles.
Acrylic.
They are very nice.
Well,
But
I have
not
something.
everybody bought those. It was an add-on.
I have
Yeah.
something to
It
pick
was
your
not part of the
spirits up.
game. These sacks are pretty nice. I'll give them that. They sort of stand up like that.
Yeah.
They're
That's
like, I
cool.
don't know what they're made of, but it's
It's very close.
anyway. The coins are really great too. The coins are phenomenal. Phenomenal. They're really nice. They
Do you
don't
remember?
stack.
Do you remember how much this was retail, Scott,
Uh,
or the Kickstarter, whatever it was
I mean, I can
originally?
look it up. The basic,
Well, with all the shit you were,
Yeah, the
you know, with
basic
the
pledge.
acrylic tiles and all that. Yeah.
well, no, the acrylic tiles were not on. I'm not gonna click on my thing because it's got all my.
Yeah,
account information. 6.2656 million that they made here.
Oh, there it is, 95
Was it $95? 95
euro.
That's the special edition core box plus stretch goals, which I don't even know what the stretch goals were. I couldn't tell you.
What was the old and
There's the transparent overlay thing. These organizers are not that nice. So all in 105 special edition gameplay all in, by the way, not really an all in. Classic pledge, no miniatures, special edition with sun drop minis, which is what I got. I got the royal pledge, by the way, which comes with the acrylic tiles.
Ooh.
I did not do the majestic, and so I did not get the terrain. I did not get the 3D terrain pack, which is $100. And I don't think it would have helped, because this basically changes all the buildings out for these things, which I think
okay.
you would never know what they are. You would never know what they are. Only for it's the basic buildings. Maybe you would. There's the upgraded acrylic tiles, $36.75. Why is Siri listening to me? So this is basically the cosmetic add-on. Yeah, these are great.
35. I don't know what that is.
There's your
in
3D
dollars.
terrain. Expensive for $158. And I got the playmat, which is nice. Playmat is nice. That one's worth it. That was worth it.
Well, it's nice for you to let them know that they're
Acrylic
placement is nice.
acrylic hex tiles. By the way, the acrylic hex tiles are just, yeah, I guess it comes with this one. Why is this one only $20? Oh, it's these tiles get acrylic sized too, which I did not get. I would have got these too, but I didn't get it because this is a confusing pledge manager. I wouldn't know. I hate add-ons. I hate all these add-ons. Give me an all.
Yeah.
So I missed out on like 3 other things. Anyway, there you go. Okay, then I'll stop browsing. Cool.
So
Well,
200.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting us. So $285 for.
In the end, it's a great game. Chef's kiss to the acrylic tiles. Chef's kiss.
$285.
So we
for pretty
played that,
price.
and then we played
Mhm.
Raw. We played the deluxe Raw,
Uh,
which is great.
I know this is one of your favorite games.
That's 20. That's 25th century.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
25th
it's
century.
really.
Ian O'Toole in 25th century.
Oh, you know.
There's a couple decisions on the art I didn't love, but for the most part, it's great.
Great.
What'd you think of the super huge raw?
I would like to say this. I mean, I want
It's
to say
fun.
it's fun. Like 2 years ago, Aldi, like go back and listen to 2 years ago,
Oh,
Alaboom,
me?
Aldi. Every
I'm so jaded now.
single game, he was always just like, "Oh, that game's amazing. What are you talking about?" Oh no, I mean that arc's
I'm
great.
not disputing the
Well,
amazingness of that game.
But no. I'm just talking in
Oh,
general. You were
I'm a
like, "Oh
negative
no, that
person.
game's amazing." Oh no, you don't want to say it. I don't want to say anything negative. about
Pandemic
that.
has
Now you're
been
like,
better.
boy, they really screwed that up. Just like-
Don't you want someone for like me to point out the problems?
Yeah.
You know,
One of the
I don't know.
things.
I mean, I'm trying not to be mean. I feel like these are legitimate.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking for myself.
It's his
In the
opinion.
chat,
Lance. Back the
obviously,
fuck off.
I think Tony was saying that they're great, and Robert was saying the tiles are great. They look great. So I'm standing alone.
I just. Yeah.
But the Raw is, and if you've not played Raw, I think we all have, right?
You know,
You haven't?
What?
worked on
Was
it.
it out of print at the time?
1997. think it's 1997. Is that right?
We did some work on the.
It's great. It's so great.
tech-
It's such a juicy game. I mean, it's just a fun little auction game, and it's
Mhm.
over in half an hour. Not even.
Yeah.
If everybody's playing quickly and paying attention, it's just. It's
Yeah,
so-
if everybody
we were
knows
just,
what
we just talk all the time, and then our tacos come, and we have to take a break and eat. You know, I'm like, we're in the middle of we're in the middle of an epic. We got.
Well,
we
if
can't
you want a
take it.
fun little game, there's a game finishing on Kickstarter in 24 hours.
What's
Called
that?
Mistwind.
Oh, I backed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
First Fish
First Fish. Yeah, I like them. They're
out of BC.
are they?
We worked on that.
What kind of game is it? Do you know anything about it?
Pick up and deliver, and well, sort of order fulfillment, pick up, deliver, and worker placement.
Are they getting the money? Are they making the big money?
They are very, as far as I know, they
219,000.
are very happy with where it's at.
Wait, you know what? I did not back it. Better back it. Oh wait, I'm not logged in.
I backed it.
You did not
Hey, back A.
I'm checking it now. I backed it. Hopefully it'll be up. It probably won't be up before BGG Con though, will it?
March.
That's not
Starts
BGG, that's not the
fulfilling.
time for BGG Con.
Not
maybe
this
spring
year.
next year. Yeah.
Yeah, next year.
No, Raw broke the search engine, Kabuki. We have a special case for Raw. If you search for, well, we you know what? That's not true. Raw basically exposed the search engine problems. Except for we didn't break it.
At the time it broke it, Scott. Then you fixed it.
People don't care. Here's the thing. I don't know. Does reprinting a title from 1997 get anybody excited anymore?
I think
But-
it might. It depends on the players. Like if these new players come in and are playing with somebody who's been in it a while and they know the game, yeah. But if not, then
Like,
they don't even know what it is.
Most of the games that
You
are coming
know?
out these days aren't even as, you know, I'd rather play Raw from 1997.
That's one of my biggest gripes with the
Yeah,
industry
it's
right now is all the reprints. You know, it's
Well, reprints are of good games. Or
yeah,
not, or-
but it's not just a reprint, it's a money gouge with the reprint. You know, like you were saying with
massively upgraded pieces.
Burgundies, yeah, they'll sell the base game, but they want
Yeah,
you
I
to
mean, I can't
buy
argue with
the
with the
$150
success of
add-on.
it.
You know?
What was it, 6 million?
Yeah.
What did I say? Can't remember what I said now.
But not
It's a
even
massive amount of money.
it's not even reprints of games you can't get. It's like companies just trying to refine their own system. Like
6 point.
Gloomhaven had 4 different parts of it before they, was out. It Plaid Hat and Portal games are known for that with their systems, reprinting it every couple of years.
I don't know. I can't blame them for doing that though. These games are so much work. Try to get your money as you know, get it, because once that game is 3 months old, it's dead.
If it were any good, it wouldn't.
Unless
be, in
it's
my opinion.
there's basically one of those games a year that's not dead after 3
Mhm.
months, right?
Yeah,
What was the game from last year? Heat. Heat, I think, is the winner from last year. I think few and far between games that are better than that live longer than 2 to 3 months.
yeah,
Oh.
that's true.
Game of interests or life. Maybe 2 to 3 games a year. Sometimes not even 2.
Yeah. Nowadays.
I don't know if I told you guys this, but we're shutting down Geek Game Shop.
Shut down Geek what?
You talked about that you were going to do that,
Geek
then you
Game
decided
Shop.
not to.
No, we're shutting it down. It's shut down.
That's where people could buy games from each other, right?
No, this is the partnership we did with PSI to sell games retail.
Oh
right.
no, I
Shop.
didn't know about that. Okay.
Yeah, it's Board Game Geek's retail shop. It's not our shop. It's basically a partnership. But it's basically getting shut down.
That's too bad.
So how does that affect the normal person, Scott? Like a BG user, does it?
Not really.
No,
Not much.
behind the scenes stuff. Right.
If it was successful, we wouldn't shut it down.
Yeah,
Right.
obviously.
I mean, you don't really shut things down that are successful.
Right. That's I don't know how to answer that. Is it good or bad?
Well, the store is doing fine. Board Game Geek store.
Yeah, yeah.
We've in fact, we've been filing UDRP takedown notices to domains that are trying to mimic
Yeah,
us.
I noticed something like that on this. It was like the official Board Game Geek store. or
Yes, we
something
had to
on
put the
page.
official Board Game
Yeah.
Geek store at the top of our page. There are a bunch of fake stores that use our name. By the way, can't really do much about it unless you get lawyers involved, and lawyers have been retained. It's really annoying because I hate spending money on lawyers for, I mean,
Yeah,
it is what it is. What are you gonna do?
like I was saying,
But
there,
they pop up like, no, I mean, the problem is you spend a lot of money on a lawyer to get it shut down. These
Right.
guys can set up a website in a minute to set it up.
then you got to do it again. Yeah,
Now, some of them have gotten names that are valuable. Like using our name in the domain is not, I think that's the ones we go after.
like I was saying earlier, this guy, you
Protecting
got to
the
think
brand.
shit I would never even think of. Yeah.
Believe me, every year that goes by, it astounds me all the things I have to think of. I could tell you even more stuff, but I'm not gonna.
Ah,
Not publicly, I'm sure. Yeah.
Not publicly. All right.
Yeah, like I was telling Lance how I was trying
so-
to load up those pages there on BGG, and the reason for spamming, he told me, I was like, I would have never thought of that. Yeah,
What? Which one?
I was trying to upload one video on the two
The
game
images.
pages.
The
Yeah,
videos. Yeah.
the video. I was like, I would have never thought of it. People trying to spam. I wouldn't even think of why we would want it. You know.
Yeah. Yep.
So was that it, Ra?
Played Raw, Castles of Burgundy. I feel like we did one other thing. Oh, and drawing a blank on the name. Inside Job.
Oh, how do you like that
It's
one?
a trick-taking game with hidden role.
Right.
So social deduction. Trick-taking it. It's not really social deduction because you're basically playing a trick-taking game. But there can be these situations where you look like you're not a traitor. So it's basic. So you get the goal. The goal of the game is to complete 7 tricks, I think. 7 contracts fulfilled. So whoever wins the trick pulls out a contract. Okay. And it'll say every other card played needs to be even or odd. Or every other card needs to be even. So even odd, even odd, even odd. Now if you pass that, you make the contract. If you don't, you fail the contract. And whoever won the trick gets a briefcase. So if 7 contracts get fulfilled, the good guys win. If one person gets 3 briefcases, or 4, I think 4 briefcases, and they're the insider, they win. Does that make sense? It's a trick-taking game where every trick has a contract.
Right.
Now, if the contract is made and 7 contracts are made in the game, 7 out of 13, there's 13 cards in a hand. The good guys win.
Right.
No, you know what? I think it's 10. 10? Something like that.
So what did you think of it?
It's great. It's very good. If you like trick-taking games, if you like hidden roll games, it's really fun. And what it comes up with, it makes everybody sort of like, oh, why did you play? Because it'll say to win the contract, the 3rd player in a row in the next in line has to win the trick. So when someone tries to win the trick early, you have to go, why did you try to win? They're like, that was the card I had to play it. And an insider can break all the rules of trick taking. They can play out of suit. They can play whatever they want. They can trump anything. Yeah.
that sounds cool.
It's
it
cool.
does.
Yeah. I will play it at BGG Con if we can.
Ooh,
I'll have it with me.
you'll forget about it by then.
And it's really like a 10-minute game.
Let's look
Very
at the
fast.
video. Yeah, this is what I meant to look at, and I just
Yeah,
haven't yet.
you play, you don't have to, you play with multiple hands, but one hand is a game. And there's special powers too, which we only played the basic game, which we didn't have any special powers, but there's really some good stuff in that game. But I was intrigued by it when Candace did the interview with the designer, and then I listened to their interview, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta get this. I got it, and we played it last weekend. It was great.
I actually listened
And
to that.
it does
interview.
play 2-player, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
There's a dummy hand, and the dummy could be the traitor. So that keeps it interesting. Right?
What'd you call me?
Dummy.
He called you a dummy.
Do you like trick taking games, Matt?
Euchre's probably my
I
favorite.
mean, oh yeah, you're Canadian.
It's euchre or nothing, baby.
Yeah, euchre is good. I like euchre.
What do you mean
Euchre-
I'm Canadian?
Euchre-
What does that have to do with it?
Euchre is
What? What
You're
does being
Canadian? Oh, I don't
Canadian
know.
have
I
to
was
do with
just
it?
assuming. Don't all
Euchre-
Canadians are born?
No,
in
I mean,
Euchre?
there's so like, I mean, it's
From birth, you
euchre.
learn
Euchre is all four presidents on the trick taking.
all 4 presidents.
All four. Well,
Mount Rushmore. is what he's
Mount
getting at.
Rushmore.
Euchre
Mount
is all
Rushmore.
4. Euchre is all 4. I mean, it's just
Well,
it's,
there's some other stuff there.
I've never played it.
I have a bit of a story about a euchre game.
Spades is
well, time out. You tell you a story. But I mean, euchre up here, it's like it's so incredibly Norwegian / Lutheran / Upper Midwest.
What's it have to do with Lutherans?
Just because
Yeah.
you'd play it like there'd be the morning church service, and then there's like the hour and a half between the church services, and there's the late morning church service, and then that hour and a half you drink coffee and eat horrible cake donuts, and you play euchre in the
Ettenens.
yeah in the meeting in the meeting area in the church. And I remember I watched people play euchre, and I learned how to play it by watching people. And then I was astounded that you had to have a different deck of cards to play. I was just like,
Well, you take some cards out. It's not a different deck.
it just
My dad for years and years and years played bridge every week with my uncles and one of my cousins, and I never really got it. Like whatever, the scientific card game and all this shit. But
I played it for a year and gave up.
and then one of my uncles couldn't make it one week, and they're like, "Oh, Matt, do you want to come and we'll play euchre? You're a euchre player, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." Did I get schooled?
Yeah.
If you're not if you don't know euchre, you play with some good people, you won't win.
I played with bridge players, and I was like fucking. I was like a tadpole in the shark pool, man. It was like literally whatever team I was on, we lost. Like seriously, it was
alone.
It was humbling. It was really humbling. I'm usually a pretty cocky euchre player, and because we usually do well. Yeah, not this day.
so when
See, Lance is even born himself.
No, I just been a long day. So now after, so for the longest time, we would get done. My buddy Shad, in his parents' basement after high school, me, him, my buddy Craig and my buddy Jason, we would play 4-player euchre in like after school, like for a couple hours, like just to screw around and we played in the basement and his dad had so many euchre decks. And then now this is kind of it was a story that like when I saw it, I was like, it makes me a little bit sad, but also it's like it's super cool. So when my buddy Shad's father passed away, I was at the funeral, and I kind of kicked myself for not saying something. I should have said something, but whatever. They had all these people come up and they would say a few words about Stan, and this guy got up and they were all, hippie drippy guys, and like this guy got up and he looked like, the old geezer hippie, and he walked up in the middle of this church, and he walked up there and he talked about playing euchre in the basement, that we played euchre all the time, and he played it with Stan and these 2 other guys, and he said whenever whoever was the biggest loser, they had bought like this bottle of like rot gut tequila in Mexico, and whoever was the biggest loser had to drink a shot of this, like that was the whole thing, and then they kept that. And he said, and then whenever that tequila bottle, because they would buy this giant tequila bottle, and whenever that ran out, they would make a trip down to Mexico and get another bottle of this thing. And he told this whole story, and then he said And he said, and my apologies, Reverend. He said, and now I'm the only one of that group left alive. And so then he reached into his back pocket and he pulled out this bottle of tequila, like basically with a bottle of tequila. And he says, to the best friends I ever had. And he just downed the tequila in the middle of the church. It was like,
He had
oh,
just wanted an excuse to drink.
maybe, but it was
Pretty
very
much.
touching. It was very touching. He's
I
like,
mean, it just seems odd. Okay.
yeah, no, I mean, maybe, but I mean, yeah, but he was like, but he made his apologies. It was cool. But yeah, euchre's the bomb. If you've never played
Yeah, it's
euchre,
pretty
you
fun.
gotta play it.
I
It's
fucking
good.
love
I
euchre.
could definitely play it.
You should play euchre at BGG-Con, baby.
Yeah, let's do it.
Could try.
Try. It's really easy.
Well, I know, but
No, for
getting this all
Scott.
together
Yeah.
when someone has to run a booth
Well, we'll do it after the booth. It's
after the
close.
booth.
So
I'm not gonna be on Scott's team. He's already making me mad.
No, we're ready to go.
Is he going to walk out in the
Scott,
middle of the
you-
game on you this time, Scott?
you'll get a kick out of this, Scott. The other night, I finally replaced my
Oh, the hub.
yeah. So I got a new one because I think this thing finally stopped charging my laptop.
Yeah, you were saying.
So that's done.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the source of my double click issue too. I'd click and it would actually double click. Like maybe it's not passing the signal through well enough or whatever. Yeah, no, that wasn't it. Apparently rocket mice have this like switch defect.
Oh, okay.
So do
Rocket
razors.
mice.
Razors do this too.
I have
yeah.
Razor.
You got to open it up and then open the switch up, and then there's this tiny little piece of metal that you just open the little gate a little longer, a little more,
Right.
and then
Micro switch.
surgically put it back in your fucking switch.
Yeah,
So it's like a spring,
bend the
okay.
switch a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a
I don't know
spring,
if I
exactly what it
ordered
is,
it.
right? So I'm
Yeah.
like, I looked at it, I'm like, I'm just gonna order a new fucking mouse for $100.
Why mess with it?
And then I'm like,
feel like
I can do it.
One mouse every 2 to 3 years, totally worth it. I mean, it
I
gets
could
so
do it.
gunky anyway. Like
2 to 3 years.
I'm already like having problems with my computer. God damn.
So
it.
I did it.
The new one?
No, I fixed it.
I met you.
Cool. Oh, nice.
You fix it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
Level
Man,
up.
have you ever played euchre with a partner who just was like absolutely goddamn clueless, and you just wanted to reach across the table and strangle them?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That would be me. Yeah, we better not play together, Lance.
Have you ever played
Uh,
6-person euchre?
Yes, I have.
Not as fun.
Not as fun. No, it is.
I
It
mean,
is
it's a
a
four-player game.
4-player game, and that was one of the
Is
things
it?
I
You
always
can do
hated about
2,
it,
3,
too.
4, or 6.
Do you guys like Tichu?
I've only played it twice.
never
and
played
it was
it.
okay. It
I
was
played it a
Pretty
couple
good
times.
game.
It's been a while
That's a
time.
good game too.
It's not euchre, but
It's not euchre,
But
Euchre.
Teacher's similar?
but Tichu
I
is
hardly even
it's
know
way
her.
simpler.
Okay. I never played Euchre, but I
I think it's simpler anyway.
a couple times.
Yeah. One of the pub nights I used to go to, I'd end every game night with about an hour of euchre.
Nice.
Do you think, like,
We used to play Mew. Have you heard of Mew?
Is it a very small game?
No, it's a regular deck. It's not a regular deck of cards, but it's made with a custom deck.
No, I do not.
I never heard
Oh,
of
I get it. Yeah, I'm like,
it. Took him a bit.
it's a 5-player trick taking game with partners. It's pretty great.
How
Yeah.
do you do a 5
You sort of bid. You sort of bid, and then whoever is like the top 2 bidders,
partner
the
up?
other players become their partners.
Okay.
Oh, neat.
So, or whoever's, I forget exactly how it works, but there's something like that. It'll
Where's
be
the
like a
third
versus
person
2.
come in though?
It's 5-player.
That's what I get. One team would have 2. Where would the
Yeah, it's 2 versus 3.
Okay.
Yeah, and the 3 are trying to set the 2.
How do you determine the 3 versus the 2? Is it the first place, the first 2
It's-
places?
It's the person who bids it's the person who wins the bid,
Right.
and then the second place player. I think it's the second place player, the second bidder. Like if I bid 3 red,
Yeah.
It's colors. I don't know what the suits are. And you bid 3 blue, and then I go 4 red, and then you drop. I think you and I become partners in red.
Okay.
Or something, or you know what? Actually, whoever also bid red becomes my partner, and everybody else is against us.
Okay. I get it.
But I think someone has to bid red. It's something like that. It's some kind of interesting 3 versus 2
I have to look this one up. Mew, M-U?
MU.
M-U, okay.
Mew and More is the name of the game. Like it came in a box of Mew and More. The game, it had a whole bunch of other games in it. It's Doris and Frank. You remember Doris and Frank?
Yeah, yeah,
That's old OG right there.
yeah. I remember.
So we had
hearing-
a politician here in Canada. His name was Stockwell Day, and there was a petition going around that got a surprising number of signatures on it for him to rename himself Doris for a year.
Oh, you Canadians.
Damn Canyon.
Did you hear what they call it? They I think for one day of 1 year they called the one of the buildings in Alberta is called the Civilian Pavilion or something like that. So
Okay.
Nathan Fillion's from Alberta, so they renamed it the Nathan Fillion Civilian Pavilion for 1 day.
That's cool.
Oh, I want to be Canadian.
Would be Canadian. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, what's the biggest worry you guys have? Maple syrup shortage.
Listen,
I mean,
this
come
guy.
on. Like, it's,
Hey, maple syrup's big
Like, it's
business.
just
Hey,
That's
that, well,
funny.
there was that 1 year the truck got stolen. That was
I
a lot
know.
of-
That's true. Yeah.
but no, there's a lot of stuff.
I know. I'm just giving you grief. It just seems so. It seems so. What's the word? Wholesome.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
We have our
Yeah.
I'm sure you got your.
Yeah. I'm sure it's just.
we have our share of bigots.
I'm sure. You,
I'm sure it's our American view of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean one of my biggest concerns is who wins the next election in the States. To be honest,
oh, there's
Not only yours.
There won't be any contest.
hope not.
It won't be.
It's too
Oh, I,
early for
I was
that
going to
shit.
tell a story a while ago. I apologize. So my local game store had a what's known as a nerdy rummage sale, where you buy a table. It's like the flea market at BGG Con.
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, and so I went there and like I had a bunch of my stuff or whatever, and this very nice guy, but very, I guess, erratic would be the way I describe him. Man, he was an interesting fella, you know, and like he was like, oh, you know, he was like, I'd like, you know, how much for this game? And I was like, I don't know, man, just make me an offer that's reasonable. And I went, would you take $5? And it's like, you know, like like an $80 game. I was like,
Yeah,
dude,
right.
Then
if
make an
you-
offer.
yeah, I mean, I was like, make a reasonable offer. And I'll
It's
accept
reasonable
it.
to him.
Well, that's fine. I'd be like, you know, if you just said 30, I would have said that's fine. You know, just like, oh, well, you know, would you do 25? You know, like that was like, and he said that for like 7 or 8 games. It was just crazy. It was like driving me nuts. But like he was super nice. And then he's like, oh, you got to let me know like the next time you're going to be selling stuff. I was like, just, you know, look me up on social media. I'm the only person with my name in the world. You know, what's your name? And I was like, I'm not on social media. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, well, if I gave you my phone number, would you give me a call? And I was like, nah, man. It just like, you know, I mean, if they do another one of these, I'll come and do this again. And he was just like,
What do you
oh,
end up
okay.
buying?
Oh, I don't even remember anymore. It was just
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he bought like probably, you know, 6 or 7 games. But I mean, and I just, you know, it was just stuff I didn't want anymore. I can't remember everything. He did buy a copy of Campaign Trail. So I mean, I guess there's that. But I mean, and then he was kind of going on and on about how like his favorite game was Global Mogul, which was
Wait, what?
Global Mogul. It's a game that came
Favorite
out.
game?
Yeah, that's his favorite game. It was Mayfair came out with it many.
I remember this game. I know
Yeah.
this game. It's a spreadsheet game.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
and he said that was his favorite game. He loves playing that game with his friends. Just
I
loves
mean,
it.
look, share the artwork of that game. I mean, it's a spreadsheet.
It is a very I remember when they came out with that. I was like,
cannot
who
believe
is
that.
going to buy this?
I was like, exactly. I was like, who is this for?
Yeah. A limited action worker placement, resource acquisition, and opportunity management game. Driven by being the best at balancing your short-term goal, fulfilling contracts for cash, and your long-term goals of building corporate infrastructure, controlling markets and regions. Yeah. Woo! Just like,
Yeah, I mean it's.
I remember when they had that.
I
I mean, that
remember when
was
this came
they
out.
released that at Gen Con. That was like
That was
one of May-
2013.
yeah, it was one of Mayfair's big releases.
I
at
love
Gen
Morgan
Con.
Dottonville, but the art on that game is not great.
Yeah, Morgan is a nice
Morgan
guy.
is a good guy, but I don't think that was his best.
Which
work.
game?
Global
Mogul.
Mogul.
Oh, that was Morgan's game.
Well, he was the artist.
His artist.
He did not design.
I don't know if I would take credit for it.
So no, so,
Morgan was
so
the
then
artist.
and
I would
he's
go
like,
start
I was
that game.
like, seriously, you're not on social media. He's like, no, I get too many death threats, so I'm not on
What?
social media. He said, no, I get too many death threats. I'm not.
What
on
does he
social media."
post?
And I was just like, why do you get death threats? He's like, oh, I've got enemies everywhere. They're just waiting for me to pop out, to pop out somewhere.
I'm
They're
very
looking
intrigued
for-
what this guy's doing.
No, and then I was like, what's your
Sounds
name,
like
buddy? And he said his name was Caleb, my son. He's like, it's Caleb, but not with a K. And I was like,
It's not with a K. I mean, come on,
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
Caleb,
then-
but not with a B.
And like I said,
What?
he was super nice, but he had these sunglasses on, and we were inside, and he had these sunglasses on, and I was like, you're wearing.
See his eye.
Wear
No,
sunglasses.
no, but it wasn't. They weren't mirrored. You could still see his eyes,
Mirror shades.
behind the things. And I was like, oh, it's like you're wearing sunglasses, and we're inside. And he is like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, and I was just like, he's like, oh, it's
Facial
He
detection.
was like, no, he said, it's like my other glasses broke.
His video camera.
My other glasses broke, so I'm wearing these because they're prescription sunglasses. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, oh, so you got to get your glasses fixed. He's like, yeah, but I really like those frames, and I can't find the frames that I had, for those. And they're a lot like these frames. And he points to his sunglasses. And then I said, well, couldn't you just have them replace the lenses in that and use and then you can have normal lenses for those, and then you can get another. And he's like, well, yeah, but I really like the ways these look with sunglasses. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so I've been trying to find other frames. I've just been wearing these so I can see. And I was like, oh, okay. It's just like, and he's like, I was like, how long ago did your glasses break? Oh, it's been over a year.
Yeah. Slips his mind. Sounds like a stoner.
he was very nice for a guy that had
Doesn't mean you're not a stoner.
no, he was very nice, and I'm not trying to say anything negative about him, but I was also like, I was like, yeah, these all came from my storage unit. Oh, I'd love to see your storage unit sometime. I was like, you're never seeing my storage unit, buddy.
Is that a
Forget my name.
euphemism?
Forget my name.
Yeah, just I
Oh.
think our business is concluded. Just like,
So I did some VR this weekend too.
oh,
Yeah.
On Sunday.
did it get you? Did you?
I
did
have
it
never
make
been
you
sick
feel
in VR until this Sunday.
What
So
game
I-
did
I've
you
been
play?
using-
What game? Did you
we
play?
were doing escape rooms in VR chat
All
or
right.
chat VR. Chat VR is phenomenal, by the way. It's very awesome. It's basically like the metaverse. I wish chat VR was more popular than that metaverse that Facebook made. It's terrible.
Right.
Facebook's metaverse is terrible compared to chat VR.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I was playing for a while and I'm like, oh, I don't feel so good. And I didn't think of anything of it because I've never been sick in VR before. And then I kept playing and I'm like, oh, now it's getting more intense. It kept getting worse and worse. And I'm like, I think I gotta stop. And I've never actually had to stop VR. Not that I've done a lot of VR, but I mean a fair amount. Where I had to actually stop.
Scott, have you done the VR thing since you started wearing glasses?
I have corrective lenses now.
That's what I'm saying. But before
No,
you
the corrective lenses are pretty new.
have you done it the VR with the corrective lenses on before?
Not for that amount of time.
It might be that.
Could be.
Yeah.
I can see too much. Yeah.
it
The
might be-
blurriness might have made it easier. I don't know.
Your
Anyway,
body's not used to it.
it was unfortunate. And then we quit. And then we played more. I think I've talked about this, that escape room game that on Steam. It's oh gosh, what is
Oh
it
yeah,
called?
you did.
It's very simple. It's escape room something.
Yeah.
Escape simulator. They're really fun. They're really, really fun. And there's hundreds and thousands of them.
Excuse me.
Yes, my chat VR. So I was going in this one of the, like I didn't have a avatar picked out, and I was just picking random avatars. And then Mike, me and him were playing, and he sent me a message, and I joined him, and I'm decked out in this like anime girl outfit, you
Go
know.
on.
Yes, and he's like, "Oh, hey, anime girl." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I didn't know what I was because I was just going avatars. It was just some random one."
Uh-huh.
This guy's trolling people.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That anime girls do not do it for me. I don't understand it.
Me either. Yeah,
I don't get it.
I never understood that either.
Hey, there's all kinds of people that
Fine. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to yuck your yum.
Yeah, no, I can understand it, but I never did anything right. Especially
It's-
back in the
it's-
80s and 90s when you didn't have other things to do.
the classic
Yeah.
what spins your crank, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Hey,
My current avatar is a earthworm fisherman.
Earthworm fisherman.
Yeah, he's like an earthworm.
is his name Jim?
Did he bait his rod with a
No,
human?
It's not earthworm
Yeah.
Jim. But it's like that. He's just an earthworm with a fisherman. And he's got a sword.
Earthworm Jim was a freaking awesome game.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a good game.
Got a
Hey, how
sword.
come we haven't seen Mr. Cluey in a while?
Who? Oh, Chloe.
Chris, I don't know.
Because he's
He's
too
been
cool
working
for
hard
us.
on his
Bit busy.
games.
Is he still writing?
Too cool for us.
I have a waifu pillow.
Dude.
Waifu. I do not have a waifu.
Waifu, yeah.
I don't have a waifu pillow. Yeah, so this weekend was a lot of games. Michelle was out of town.
That's great.
Pinball,
Oh,
board
great.
games, VR, escape rooms online.
When the
I
wife's
played,
away, games will be played.
Well, there was a lot of time
away.
to play the games for sure. Oh, and then I started watching more Curb Your Enthusiasm. I love that show.
You're watching what?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh,
It's 12 seasons of gold. I'm slowly chipping away at them, and they're so.
Jen does that.
I've never seen it before. I mean, I watched it, but not like all of it.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've seen a couple episodes here and there,
It's,
but never
it's so great.
straight through or anything like that.
I've never seen an episode.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know your humor, Matt. Maybe you would like
Yeah.
it. You wouldn't. I don't know.
I don't suffer
It's-
dick and fart jokes very well.
It's nothing like that. It's more bad situation. He gets himself in bad situations.
Oh no.
He's an asshole.
I empathize way too
It's-
much
it's
with that
basically-
shit.
Oh.
It's George from Seinfeld.
I can't watch
Yeah.
Frasier because of that exact thing.
That's probably it. Then.
I just kind of go.
But it's fucking hilarious. I mean, they're so funny. Just I don't know. There's something about it. I don't like that kind of humor either, but it's something about this one.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's cool.
Oh, we're gonna play. Actually, let me go take my pills. I'll be right back.
Baby.
Baby, I'm gonna take a spin.
Speaking of Fraser, that was his agent's name.
Fraser's coming back, Matt.
I heard David Hyde Pierce isn't coming back though.
No, and it's set in a different city. I forget where. I think Texas for some reason, but
Hey,
Austin.
Haas.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was Austin. Yeah. See, everything's just like the board game industry. Just keep bringing the old shit back.
I keep seeing this mini rant online saying instead of remaking really good movies, why don't they remake really bad movies with
Yeah,
well?
yeah, that would make sense.
Because the fandom isn't there. That's why.
Yeah, but if they do so well,
I guess they could
people
generate
would know
views.
about the original. You know?
Yeah. Oh my god! I can't stop yawning.
So, yeah,
Can't
I
stop
finished that telemarketers. I think that's what it was called.
yawning. Oh, yeah, I couldn't watch
on
anymore.
Citi- Dude, it was nuts. I watched they went all the way up to like Washington with this. It was nuts.
Yeah,
And nothing got resolved. They're still ripping people off the same way, using the cops,
I'm
and
sure.
now it's political, the PACs and all that, the super PACs. It's nuts.
Right, come on, go take a pill.
Oh, gee.
Excuse me.
Oh, I forgot that sign still. I gotta take that down before Scott. Excuse me.
What?
That sign, I forgot to take it down again. I gotta do that before you sue me. I'm kidding, Scott. I will make you one, Scott. I'll get how big and all that you want it.
You
I
know,
will.
it's okay, man. You know, it's all right.
Nah, it's fine. This one is just very shoddy. I'm actually surprised it didn't bend. It's very thin plywood. Yeah.
Is
I'll
it
talk-
lit up, or is that just white paint?
It can light up. I don't have it light up. The BGG is just
It's very
white paint.
bright. Okay.
Yes. I would have
Why is
done
it
that. Just
green?
huh?
Why is it green?
Because
The
the
logo is
shopping cart on the store page was green, and for
It was
some
green.
reason it stuck in my head that so was the
changed
logo. Oh, was it? They did change it. I didn't notice that. Yeah.
It's kind of a temporary logo. I know someday it might change, but it is what it is now.
Does
Yeah.
do you still keep up the other GGs?
What is that, Scott?
Yeah,
The
it
other
was
geek sites?
my pill caddy.
Oh,
Kabuki was asking. Lincoln 3D printed me a thing that holds it together.
oh,
It's like a
Oh,
little,
that's nice.
yeah. That's cool.
Nice.
so it doesn't pop open in my pocket and spill out.
Yeah.
All right,
I
there you
just
go.
got off
Pills
the
are all the
pills.
same every day, so I don't have one of those caddies.
I just got off an antibiotic that I did take 4 times a day. I forgot how much of a pain in the ass pills are. You know,
Yeah.
I don't take them with the weed. Well, they started.
I'm
me
on potassium
one.
now. I have a potassium
Why
deficiency.
don't you just eat a banana?
Those pills are like
You think?
by
you
the
would
way,
if you could.
bananas do not provide a lot of potassium.
No,
It's a
or something
Myth.
else. Spinach or
Misnomer.
something else
tomatoes.
is better.
Tomatoes give
So-
you more
Tomatoes, that's
potassium
what
than a
it was.
banana.
Yeah.
Our last remaining cat is not doing very well right now because her
Oh, that's
potassium
bad.
levels are really low, and
Sucks.
she basically spends the day not eating and
Mm.
in the closet with her face to the wall.
Oh, boo.
I know.
That sucks. Yeah.
I don't know if
What's
she's
the problem?
gonna-
Do you know?
her potassium is it's just she's old and her shit's shutting down.
Yeah, that
So,
sucks.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sorry
to
to bring
hear
it
that.
down.
No, no
Somebody
problem.
usually does.
All right, here we go. Let's play some
Baby.
initials.
What's up, Beaks?
Bye bye.
All right. Barry would be the two.
Very,
Very,
Here
very.
we go.
I've never been called that.
Item 1. Here we go.
Triple R.
Connected to a teddy bear. Is slang for to raise hell.
I think they would use that.
Debuted in 2008, ended in 2013. Connected to New Mexico.
Aldi.
Aldi,
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Number 5 was included lawyer Saul Goodman.
It's all good, man.
And I would argue,
It's all good, man.
I would argue that the Saul Goodman TV show was better than Breaking Bad.
Never got into that.
I don't know about better, but it was good.
It
It was a very high quality show. I really liked it.
The interplay between him and his brother
I never really liked the brother parts.
well,
but-
that's the whole point. It's just because the very complex relationship.
I mean,
they have.
an amazing show, for sure.
I'm making my daughter watch Lost. We've started watching Lost.
Oh, how terrible of you!
Why? You love Lost.
Inflict her for that show and have that terrible ending.
We'll talk about that in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. The title of a 2007 Kanye West song. Was in 2006's Game of Shadows.
Shadows.
Was indicted in 2007 on 4 counts of perjury and 1 count of obstruction of justice. Connected to the number 73.
Matt
Go.
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds
Yeah.
is correct.
I don't know baseball at all, but I knew that he got himself in some hot water.
Yeah.
There you go. Good one.
Oop.
Famously mentioned during a 2012 presidential debate.
2012.
2012.
Well,
Appeared on the final episode of The Colbert Report. Was the star of a 1985 film that included Chevy Chase and John Candy. Had an extremely well-known residence. Performed at the memorial service of Jim Henson. Final clue. Is 8 feet 2 inches tall and is yellow.
Barry.
Matt,
Barry is first.
I got a Big Bird.
Big
Bird.
Bird is correct.
Complete blank.
Two
was-
interesting
yeah.
factoids about Big Bird. Well, actually, two factoid. One's a factoid and one's a remark. I always thought it was when Mr. Hooper, when the actor who played Mr. Hooper passed away.
Oh,
I thought it was super impressive that they did a whole episode about Mr. Hooper dying, and they didn't shy away from it, and they
Yeah.
treated it like Big Bird mourning the loss of his friend. And if you ever saw after that, he always had a picture of Mr. Hooper in his nest. Yeah, ever since then.
Yeah.
And the second thing I don't like about Big Bird is that Snuffleupagus was his imaginary friend, and then everybody saw Snuffleupagus. They just decided that, like, he would always say, and everybody would come to see Snuffleupagus, and Snuffleupagus would wander off. And I thought Snuffleupagus was awesome, and it made me mad, and everybody else got to see Snuffleupagus. So, anyway.
no.
Yeah, I mean, Snuffleupagus had just what a great name too, Snuffleupagus.
that's what look.
Appeared in 2013's This Is the End.
What are we?
Involved in Super Bowl 35. Connected to sign language in Napoleon Dynamite. Connected to Millennium. Shape of My Heart, I'll Never Break Your Heart, and Straight Through My Heart. Final clue. AJ, Howie,
Matt,
Nick,
Barry.
Matt,
Good, man.
Backstreet Boys.
the Backstreet
Yeah.
Boys is correct. All right, here we go.
One of my guilty pleasure bands.
Yeah. Started in 1966. Once featured Justin Bieber and Ozzy Osbourne in an advertisement. Connected to the colors black, yellow, and blue. represented by a tag?
Matt, nope.
Matt,
Matt?
nope.
Got a guess?
Blockbuster.
Eh,
No, they were right before.
Oh shit! I know what it is. Damn it.
connected to Black Friday.
Aldi,
Aldi.
Best Buy.
Best
Yes.
Buy.
Shouldn't have said it, man. I would have got it.
I was trying to remember the name
Shouldn't
of
have
it.
said it.
Where for Black Friday, I held the record. It was like 4 years in a row. I was the first person in line at Best Buy.
I've never waited in line. Oh, you know what? That's not true. I waited in line for the Nintendo Switch, or no, the Nintendo Wii, which I did not get,
Oh,
and the Xbox, which I did not get.
So I remember I would go there and I would get in line the day before, like on Thanksgiving, and I would sit up there. And there was a couple of days
I got
where
more
it wasn't ridiculously cold. Like it would be like relatively decent. And there was one year where it was like frigidly cold. And that was when I was
What did you get?
usually it was a TV. It was usually like at the time, like a 42-inch TV that was like $1,000 and you got it for like $250. It was something like that. And then I remember two stories that involved my wife actually. At the time, before I dated her, because I was a real-time manager and I was the person who handled all like sick requests and everybody that would call in, and then if people weren't going to be at certain shifts, I'd adjust and for coverage and move people around. I had actually fielded her phone call for calling in sick, when in fact she just was in line at Best Buy like eight spots behind me, and I didn't know who she was, but she knew who I was, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in trouble. Like I noticed that I called in sick and I'm lying because I'm waiting in line." That was before we were dating. And then I remember one year
Best Buy came around in 1966.
Yep.
Gosh.
And then after we were together, Best Buy switched the thing where they if you were waiting in line and there was when you were there for one of the big items, instead of having people race in and try to grab them, they would hand you a sheet that guaranteed you the item. So it was like, oh, which one are you looking for? I'm here to get the laptop, or I'm here to get this. They hand you a sheet, and then when you got up to the front, you just handed the sheet to the person and they went and grabbed it, which was a pretty good idea. But ultimately what happened was it was like my wife ended up, like, I remember she would just take every single one of the sheets, which people would do. They would just take it, and then she was inside the store and she was selling them to people.
What? She did
Yeah.
not do that.
Yeah, I was there. I sat there, and they're
No.
like, I
Come
waited
on,
in line.
she
I
did
was, I
not
wanted
do
to-
that. Please, come on.
She was,
Why would
she was
someone
like,
buy that?
she was, because
For what, $1?
because no, like give me $20 and you can have the sheet, and you guaranteed one of the good things. It was just like there was
No.
everybody was doing it. There was
I
like there was
cannot believe that.
there was a back corner in
I
the
refuse
building.
to believe that.
Yeah, it happened, man. I thought it
oh,
was
bullshit, Scott.
I think it's a bullshit. It's a
Why
bullshit.
why would I BS about it? It was like you sold the piece of paper that allowed you to get the cheap TV.
Okay.
What were the initials?
Get her on the screen and tell her.
Oh,
No,
she's
whatever.
asleep. So I mean, but yeah, no, it was like it was
How old
because
was she?
there was a handful of people, and like we walked over there because we had all the sheets. We walked over there, and they were like, "What are you guys doing?" And like, "Oh, like people we're selling these people." And then they were like, and then so somebody said, "Does anybody have the so and so computer?" And my wife's like, "I
So
got
you
one."
You were Best Buy black market dealers.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
Anything $20 is $20.
$20 is
Come
$20.
on.
You did not do that.
I did. Well,
You're
I
making
mean,
that up.
no, I didn't. I didn't.
You
make
had
it
an
up.
idea to do it.
No, I swear to God.
Okay.
If you
Didn't
ever
bake
meet my
for
wife,
20 years
I
and
mean,
he
I
if
just
did.
don't believe it.
Okay,
Anyway,
okay.
whatever.
You can ask her, and I'll keep I'll just she scalped, and I think she scalped some of mine
Not-
too. And it
You
was
did
like,
not do that.
yes, why wouldn't you? They gave me the piece of paper. I can do whatever I want with
So
it.
you did walk around Best Buy with like trench coat.
No,
You
no,
want-
I
Want a paper? I got a paper.
Got
I
paper.
should have.
I mean,
made-
I would basically just go to whatever.
We're not thieves.
If I was
Scott.
approached by someone to sell me $20 to buy a thing I could buy, I would definitely be talking to the store.
But you can't buy it
and
because like
reporting it.
because
You would be in trouble. Anyway, whatever. Let's
Anyway.
move on.
Moving on.
Appeared on a postage stamp in 1997.
Aldi,
Go.
Betty Boop.
Nice.
You're so angry.
Took
You're
a
so
shot.
angry. Now somebody's-
Angry.
shot.
I don't know if Betty Boop is in here, but I certainly hope it is, and I certainly hope somebody
I
else
don't
gets
get
it
it.
before you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
here we go.
No.
Was a basketball player in
Okay,
1996.
whatever.
Barry.
Go.
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny is correct. However,
Space Jams.
Space Jams, baby.
Yes, Barry, we all know. I'm not bitter.
Nah. I didn't know he was
Oh.
on a stamp though.
Kabuki Kid just said, "Can I use your photocopy or 100 copies of the coupon?" Now this was bad, and I shouldn't have done this.
Sure.
But-
not.
You did not.
No. Just listen. So, and
What
this is
story are
like-
you gonna make up now?
No, this isn't made
Of
up.
your
I personally did this. So like 10 or 11 or 12 years ago, I don't remember what it was, but it was a while ago. And if you were a Barnes and Noble person who signed up for like their membership and I think it was like around Christmas, they sent you an email that said, it's like, hey, or they sent you a letter. I think they actually sent you. I don't know. I was one of. I think no, they sent you an email
Good story, man.
because this is how I know it. I
Can't
work.
remember that story. Come on, give me
They sent you an email,
What'd you do?
and it was like, and when they sent you the email, they said when you get into this is the UPC symbol. When you get in there, this coupon is worth. It was like 20%. 30% or 50% off one item within the store. And it was like, and there was like, and I remember, and I was like, and the thing was, it was like
You deal
online,
Barnes and
some-
Noble coupons.
yeah. So online,
did
somebody,
not- come on.
somebody had posted like the
Yeah, yeah,
50% off coupons. And I was just like, so and you could print them off. And there's all these people that said, this works. Just go up there, have them scan it. It's
Ha
worth-"
ha ha.
So I remember
You got the
I-
best of Barnes and Nobles, but really, they made their money.
I printed off like a handful of them, and I went into, and then I was there, and I remember it was the weirdest thing because I was trying to like make sure that I get the I remember it was the Star Wars before 7, 8, and 9, which don't exist anyway. It was Star Wars 1 through 6 on Blu-ray special edition, and it was like $160, something like that. And I was like,
$5
I can
DVD.
And then I was like, oh, I can pre-order it? And they're like, yeah, you can pre-order it. And I was like, cool. What if I had this coupon? And they were like, oh, let's see what it's worth. Oh, 50% off. What a great deal. And I was just like, and then it was just, wandered off to another part of the store and, oh, I'll buy this Lego set. How much is it? Okay. I was just like, oh, it's $99.99.
Did you go to different cashiers each time? I mean,
Yeah, basically, it's $99.99. Oh, I got this in the it's 50% off. What a deal! It's like, I saw a friend of mine in there, and he had these. He was like thinking about buying some like big giant, DVD box set. I was like, here, use this. It would be 50% off.
the trench coat opens up and more papers flying out with coupons. And Lance.
Yeah, I know.
You talk about Forrest.
I was so convinced they were gonna screw me on the Blu-ray. Like I'm saying, they screw me. I was so convinced they were gonna screw me
believe
in
me,
that
their money.
Blu-ray DVD.
Blu-rays
set.
are-
Yeah, that costs
It costs-
5 cents.
it costs
to
$1 to
make. Yeah.
They got their money.
Yeah, I know, but I felt bad. Not bad enough to cancel my order.
I
but
actually
felt bad.
wish that would come back. Physical copies of stuff.
All right. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012. Connected to Tibet. Known for Paul's Boutique.
Aldi,
Go ahead.
Beastie Boys.
That is. I'm sorry. It's
Paul's Boutique.
Homer J. Fogg. That is a good Simpsons memory. Thank you. Thank you, Kabuki Kid.
Homer
All
Joe.
right. Here we go. Is the name of a solitaire card game. Is a G.I. Joe character. Was the 11th overall pick in 2004. Is a 4-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year. Its actual name is the Elizabeth Tower. Final clue. The nickname of an all-star center in the NBA and an iconic clock tower in London.
Aldi.
Oh, go ahead.
Big Ben.
Big.
I would have rather read Big Ben.
Ben.
Instead of all that other stuff.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. I'm not a sports thing though.
Except you like the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys?
Are you watching the Secret Base thing on the Minnesota Vikings? Oh God, it's just
What is that?
Oh yeah, Secret Base YouTube channel. They got millions of subscribers. They're doing a 7-part expose on the how tortured the Minnesota Vikings are. They just got done with the 90s, which is the 1998 NFC Championship game. Gary Anderson, wide left, don't go to the Super Bowl. I remember sitting there.
Oh, what a cook.
Yeah, kick. You basically he makes the field goal. You ice the game. It's over. He misses it. The Falcons managed to tie the game, win it in overtime. Somebody called me. It was somebody that was like a Packers fan or something. My phone rang. I looked at my phone. I saw it was them. I picked up the phone and I threw it through the wall in my basement. I threw it so hard.
Were you the guy they filmed with when Brett Favre lost the game for you guys?
No, I actually went outside and screamed at the top of my lungs. Just like, and then my buddy Craig came out and just let out with the longest string of F words I've ever heard. And just
someday, Lance. Someday.
No, it never will. Just this, like the classic thing. It's like
I've been watching Hard Knocks. I was waiting for Matt to come back. I've been watching Hard Knocks with
who they doing this year?
Jets. With
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, yeah. He's really nice. He's very nice on the show.
Darkness Retreat.
You would never know he was.
It's just such a weirdo.
Yeah,
I love.
Looks like a normal guy. He looks like a normal.
Well, after did he cut his hairs and how it doesn't all weirdly slicked back?
Yeah, his hair is cut.
Yeah, I remember somebody, like, my favorite line that somebody said when they showed him and he had the longer hair and he had it all like slicked back and he had that weird. He was wearing weird clothes all the time.
Yeah. And he was dating that woman.
Yeah, and then he just said
they would go. Yeah, they would forage for their food.
Yeah, and he said, when did Aaron Rodgers stop being an NFL quarterback and become the guy you buy snakes from in a Kmart parking lot?
All right, let's go.
All right, let's go.
Moving on.
Here we go. Included a secret agent. Connected to Lisa Kudrow, Jimmy Kimmel, and Steve Buscemi.
What was the first clue? Included a secret agent?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Was nominated for an Academy Award.
What was the second clue?
Don't repeat these things.
That's fine. You can keep going.
Included Puppy Co.
Puppy Co. Okay. Or is that the new clue?
That's the new clue.
That's the new clue.
Puppy Co.
Puppy Co.
Spawned an animated Netflix series. Final clue. Alec Baldwin voiced this infant wearing a business suit
Matt.
in this. Go ahead. 5, 4.
Barry.
Baby Boss or something like that?
Yeah.
And Barry?
Boss baby.
Boss.
Fuck off.
Baby.
Oh, come
Boss
on, give it to
baby.
Matt.
No, you gotta get it right.
No, I mean,
Boss
no,
baby.
I'm not saying that because I think I should have got it right, or think I should have got it, but
I knew it was Boss Baby.
And never.
I
seen
was with Matt, but he got the wrong one.
I'm
so
kind
I
of
went the
proud
other
I don't
one.
know his Boss Baby, to be
it.
honest.
I mean, I only know the name of Boss Baby. I don't know anything about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Was created by Sherwood Schwartz. It's a fun name. Sherwood
Aldi.
Schwartz. Go ahead.
Betty Boop.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
See, it's gonna be me this time. That's gonna.
I know you're
say-
gonna get it.
Inspired a 1995 comedy. Famous for a 3x3 grid. Included Davy Jones of the Monkees. Included a widowed architect. Final clue. Included one of America's most famous blended families.
Matt,
Matt,
Brady Bunch.
Brady
Brady Bunch.
Bunch.
But I never
is
got
correct.
that.
They slept in separate beds.
They did,
Ooh.
Yeah.
just like Dick Van Dyke and.
How
Oh no, they
chaste.
slept in the same bed.
Everybody did.
I Love Lucy had it too.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
they,
I Love Lucy was the first one to not.
they started
Oh,
to
but
show
first
that they
ones,
had sex. It was the symbolism.
There is one episode of Brady Bunch where they mention sex.
Yeah.
And then it's because their dog knocks up the neighbor's dog.
It's
And
They call it Whoopi.
No, and one of the girls says something like it just like it very offhandedly says because the mom gets all like weird about talking about it, and she leaves the room and she's like, I think mom has a really weird problem about talking about sex with us. Just anyway, just a weird other weird thing. Did you know that in I Dream of Jeannie, what's her face Jeannie was never allowed to show her belly button? That was one of the censors said she could never show her belly button. Yeah, weird.
And now we got WAP on the radio.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
come a long way.
Now
Yeah.
now you have that. I was like half I was at my dad's house many years ago. I was half watching that Two Girls Pizza Place show. It was just on in the background.
Two guys
And-
are going on a pizza place.
Yeah, and then literally I was like, what? And I was like, I mean, and I did a double take because she said there's something like they mentioned anal sex just offhandedly. It was like something weird, like where they like said something like oh, you know, that's so and so. It's like a really fancy restaurant. She's like, the last time who took me there took me there got anal. It's just like that was just like
Hey, Forrest.
Forrest,
What?
it's quite a coincidence.
don't
You
believe
showed
it.
up
What?
as Lance was mentioning anal sex.
yeah.
The exact moment.
The year blockbusters are over, Forrest.
Blockbuster.
We'll talk about that after that. Let's go. Let's finish this up.
All right, it's double B. Double B is
All
we're at the end here. There's only 4 left. So if you ran the string, you'd actually tie Aldi. So good
That an
luck to you.
expression?
Ooh.
Yeah. Ran the string.
Here we
Never heard
go.
that one.
Had a cameo on the FX series Rescue Me. The 2002 Bon Jovi song Bounce is dedicated to him. Was referenced in the South Park episode Sarcastaball. Has been accused of being a spy. Often seen in hooded sweatshirts. Final clue. Legendary NFL head coach. 5, 4, 3.
Matt?
Matt.
I don't know
5.
this is a person, Bill Buchanan.
And 5, 4,
That was the name of my shop teacher.
3,
Aldi.
2. Aldi. 5, 4,
Pretty sure it's the Patriots guy, but I can't remember his name.
2.
Forrest.
Forrest.
I
5.
just said DD. It's Bill Belichick.
Yes.
That's
Bill
it.
I
Belichick.
heard DD. Okay,
Can't
that
remember
makes
his
way
name.
more sense.
Bill
Too,
Belichick.
too much sports in this one.
That
Here we go.
is a sports show, Scott.
Found in the Atlantic. Says the guy who's leading.
For now.
Connected to the 2017 Jake Gyllenhaal movie Stronger. The second word refers to a bear. This is a dumb clue. Represented by the letter B. Has often been seen near a cup.
Forrest,
Go ahead.
Boston Bruins.
Boston
Yeah,
Bruins.
sports. Hopefully the next two are sports and you can.
I'm running the string, baby. Stringing
Here we
this
go.
up.
Clue number 1. Keanu Reeves once compared John Wick to this. Clue number 2. Dwight Schrute had one. Clue number 3. Elvis Presley had one. Clue number 4. It denotes a high competence.
Barry,
Barry,
black belt.
black belt. Clue number
Damn it.
5 was actually Caleb Meister just earned his. But
Yeah.
I
yeah,
just watched that episode too. Crap.
it's weird. It's weird that got in there somehow. I don't know. Yeah. There you go. Barry and Aldi are tied. Matt can tie, and then if Barry or Aldi get it, they win. And then Forrest and can be the spoiler. Anyway, Matt, you tie for the win if you get this.
Okay.
Included in the 2001 film Vanilla Sky. Connected to Drew Barrymore painting in 50 First Dates. Connected to a van and a werewolf. Connected to 1988's Cocktail. Once performed on Full House.
Barry,
Barry.
Beach Boys.
Beach Boys is correct. Barry comes from behind to win it all.
Awesome.
Nice.
With all those sports
Terrible.
things.
Those were terrible.
How about them, Kevin?
None of them are really in what I don't know. That was a letdown for her. So
Oh, everything lets you down now.
no,
The
it was
cast is a
some
burgundy
of them are
let you
clever,
down.
right? Like some of them are clever, but I don't know. Like
No Bob Barker.
No, rest
That
in
would have
peace,
been very
Bob.
timely.
Oh yeah,
Bob Barker, yeah.
Forgot it.
no Betty Boop, no Bob Barker,
The price is
Bobby
wrong.
Brown.
no Bobby
Bitch.
Brown. Come on. Ooh, I got to go look at the full moon.
Yeah. Once every 14 years.
Have you heard about these Samsung cameras? If you go take a picture of the moon, it like replaces it with a high definition image, like making you think you took a very, very high definition photo.
I had not
Does
heard about that.
it?
Yeah. You go search for it on the internets. Samsung cameras, Samsung phones, basically fake moon pictures.
Why?
What's the point? Well, I guess it makes you feel like you got something special.
Yeah, it makes you.
But
I mean,
it's not real.
really stupid.
They're lying.
Yeah, everything's lying in the technology. these
Someone
days,
just
of course.
posted full moon pictures taken by with my phone. Like, I don't believe that's a camera phone photo. Come on, it's too good.
I looked at it earlier, but it's too cloudy here. We got some weather going through again.
I mean, come on, that's not a phone.
No, I could barely see that in the telescope.
I think he's. It's got some smiley. It's got a smiley face.
Ba, 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 ba. So Forrest, what's new?
Played a game tonight, which reminded me why a lot of reviewers don't do negative reviews. It's Bull and Bear. I was super excited because it's from it's a country in the Mid East.
Okay.
And I was like, oh wow, that's really neat. Because I was like, hopefully this will be great. And it wasn't great at all.
Why
Rule
not?
booklet sucked.
Well,
It's a Monopoly ripoff, but not 100% Monopoly ripoff. Like you can tell there's some good ideas, but it needed to be in the oven longer. And like there's an app that you have to have, and the app doesn't there's just entire things in the game where it's like they were just like, all right, we don't need to explain anything about this aspect of the game because they got this app and it'll do all this bookkeeping, but it's like a stock market game. So, you want to kind of manipulate the stock market, but without knowing how it didn't hit. Paper money, roll and move, super random and swingy. And so so now we posted a video. Well, I'm going to post a video about it, and
I have a question about paper money.
Yeah.
We're working on a game right now that thematically could really use paper money. What if it was like made out of like Tyvek?
I don't mind paper money. I just know a lot of people hate paper money.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tyvek's really slippery with that.
So
Tyvek?
Haiti uses Tyvek for their notes.
What's tieback? Tieback paper.
It's what you
Tyvek
wrap
is the stuff
houses
they
with.
put on houses,
Yeah.
the
The hazmat suits the painters wear? That's Tyvek suits usually. The white ones.
it's basically very hard to rip and it doesn't
Yeah.
cut easily either.
It's a plastic kind of.
I think it's something you could lead into, especially if it's thematic.
That would be expensive though, wouldn't it, Matt? Not really.
No,
I don't.
not too bad.
Why would you, just for durability? Is that why you would want
Yeah.
to switch?
Durability,
Yeah, I guess.
texture.
I guess it holds off with print, right? I don't know how.
Oh, it's
Anything
it's very friendly with printing.
anything I dealt with, the print gets covered up. It's the housing, get the sheathing and all that.
Yeah. Like if you Googled Tyvek banknote, you'll see a bunch of them.
Oh, they make it as actual currency?
A bunch of countries use Tyvek for or have used at one point if they're not still for their banknotes.
Huh.
The things you learn working at a financial museum.
Yeah. I did not. That wouldn't even occur to me. Like I knew you guys up in Canada use like a plastic paper bill, right?
Polymer,
or is that
yeah.
England? Yeah.
A lot of countries use polymer banknotes now, actually.
The U.S. is, I think, one of the few that don't.
Oh, I can't wait to get my new passport. It's got like a plastic credit card type like a picture page, and there's like a hologram thing on it, and some other wacky stuff. It's pretty cool. I saw my friend's passport and like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
I often wonder, currency's a little different, but stuff like passports and all that, is it really worth all the money we invest on anti-theft than just to let people steal? I mean, at what point does it overwhelm?
Counterfeiting?
Yeah.
Well, passports especially is probably very important. Banknotes, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, so we have Canadian Tires are our big like kind of all-purpose hardware kind of store here.
Okay.
Hardware and all, and they they used to just be hardware and stuff, and now they're houseware, sporting goods, and all that shit. They used to have they recently switched over in the last 10 years or so from their paper Canadian Tire money to a card, but you should see the amount of like the two companies that make the banknotes for Canada make the Canadian Tire money
Oh, okay.
or made the Canadian Tire money. So there's like micro threading in it. There's intaglio inking, which is like the raised ink, all this stuff. It's like, Jesus, there's probably half a dozen or a dozen security features in those notes
for a card for
a fucking bonus
a
box.
coupon. Yeah. That's insane.
They used to have pubs here or like university bars used to have Canadian Tire nights, so you could bring in you can pay for drinks with your Canadian Tire money. It usually coincided with the fact that they had to do they had to buy something at Canadian Tire. The bar had to buy something like a snowblower or something, a bunch of stuff that they could use to spend the money at Canadian Tire on.
They get you every way. Well,
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. I was actually watching a thing on Appalachia back in the day, like how the coal.
Appalachia?
Yes, Appalachia, the Appalachian Mountains. That's how they
No,
pronounce
it's
it.
Appalachia.
No, it's pronounced Appalachia. I spent
I'm
a lot of
pretty sure.
time.
I don't think you're right on this one.
I've
heard it both ways.
The fucking area,
Doesn't mean anything.
but like Lancasters, they don't pronounce it Lancaster up there. It's Lancaster. Right? Lancaster.
I feel like Matt would be the authority on this, and if he's heard it both ways, man.
But
You ever
Why,
watch,
why do you think Matt's the authority? He doesn't live in
Yeah.
Appalachia.
he's
Because he
nowhere near
lives
the
in
mountains.
Canada.
That got nothing to do with that.
Bye, Aldi. You ever watch Psych? The show Psych?
No.
Yes.
He always says that's what Sean always says. I've heard
Yes,
of both ways.
I've heard it both ways. Yeah, I know. But I mean, I've never heard. I'm sure Kabuki Kid's pushing her, glasses up on her nose to let
Does
us
she
know.
even wear glasses, Lance?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, if she doesn't, she goes out and buys a pair just so she can do that.
But
So
anyway,
she
back
can
to
try to
Appalachia.
be better than
Yes, Barry. Tell us about
The
Appalachia.
trail that I actually hiked. Anyway, they were saying how like the coal towns came in because the owners of the coal company would built the whole town and they were trapped there. They were indentured servants. They had to pay for the food using the coal money at the general store, which the coal companies owned. They had to go to the schools that the coal company owned, the houses they lived in, the coal company owned.
Yeah.
And if one of the miners died, the widows had a week to get out or remarry. It's insane what they used to do back in the day.
Wow. That is pretty crazy. It is 1:45 and I should go to bed. So
Oh, we
I
lost
would
Scott.
say
Yeah.
Yeah, he
adieu
had to
to
go.
you, gentlemen.
He did the Irish goodbye. He vanished.
Yes, I know it well.
Just when nobody else is looking, just slip out the back
Mm.
door.
It's the Peter Shirey one.
Oh, how many times I've it was always better to leave the bar a little earlier than everybody else. Otherwise, you were up the extra 3 hours.
Because you go to get your food after and
I remember also though that I forget what stand-up comedian it was, but his line was always like he's like, you ever have one of those nights where everybody like you went home a little bit early and the next day I was just like, what happened to you last night? And you're just like, oh yeah, you should have hung out, man, and it's just like, because apparently as soon as you leave, that's when all the fun begins. Like there's just this taxi cab full of clowns and kazoos and popcorn just waiting for you to leave, and then they just pull up, and that's when all the fun happens. Ah, yes. Yeah.
Drunker people get, the more inhibitions get lowered. Crazier stuff happens the later in the night.
Okay, so I have to read this. There's this
Also more VD, but
there's this little comic on Facebook. This kid rubs a lamp and genie comes out. I will grant you 3 wishes. I wish that Dungeons and Dragons used metric. The genie's like, yeah, what the hell's up with that? Anyways, good wish, bro. You still have 3 wishes.
Do.
Oh, I'm talking to 3 Americans. What am I?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's funny up in Canada, but here
Fucking
he,
hilarious.
I actually
Hilarious.
prefer the inconvenience. Thank you very much.
What was it? I was watching this Australian comedian, and he did the whole imperial relationship from one measurement to the next. And it's like, we're gonna call was it an eighth of an inch is like 3 poppy seeds and all these different things. And it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do we're gonna call, what is it, 12 inches, or the next version of the next step up from inch, we're gonna call it a foot. Great, so that's 10 inches then, nice and round. No, we'll make it 12. And he just kind of keeps going on like that, and it's like, it's just nonsensical.
Is
I'm sure there are documentaries about where all of the beginnings of how these were all created and the histories of all these
The
measurements and cubits and shit like that.
The metric system is fairly new. It's only 120 years old, late 1800s, I think. Yeah. I actually watched the thing on. Mainly the reason the U.S. didn't do it is just the expense. They had to retool everything for nuts and bolts and screws. It's back in the day.
So now
I don't know.
So when you go to Home Depot, can you get both?
It depends on what you're looking for. It's
if you want to get like nuts, can you get metric or? Yeah,
you can. But it's not even that. Like nowadays, even American cars are a mixture of metric and standard. The L I worked on, that was a mixture of metric and standard. Depends on the origin of the country of the part. It's
I get you.
It's America is one of the few that the last time they tried was in the 70s, I think. It's just didn't catch on here. But at the time, we weren't dependent on foreign countries for the most part, so it was all standard machinery here.
Well, there you go. All right, guys, have a good night.
Matthew.
Toodaloo.
Adios.
Laters.
You should do more negative reviews for us.
More negative.
I don't shy away from them. I've done probably 100 plus, probably more.
Plus, I would have never done that. Well, my format was a little different. I wouldn't have spent that much time on it.
It's kind of specifically why I started the thoughts from the quarter segment, where it's like, all right, we're just gonna play this bad game once and then talk about it, because most games you could play it once and be like, yeah, fuck this, I never want to play this ever again, for one reason or the other.
Yeah. Well, when you're dealing with so many, yeah.
Well, I mean, even if you're not, you play it, and if you played, 100 games, much less thousands of games, you're like, okay, I see it. What is the best case scenario for this game? Is it me having fun? Probably not.
It's true. I've only had that experience a couple times, actually.
Or you came back to a game and you're like, oh, wow, I had fun this time?
No, where I had a game where I'd never want to play this again. Yeah, only a few. Actually, one was with Lance. We were at a con. Flip.
I don't like that one.
It was a horrible game.
Tasty Minstrel Games one? Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
No, I don't think it was Tasty Minstrel.
Nah, Flip City was TMG, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe it wasn't Flip City, man.
Flip City was TMG. It was and that was, don't even get me started.
No, I don't think it's the game. We were playing it at a con with another couple other people, me and you, Lance, and we didn't even finish the game.
No, I remember that.
I can't remember the name of the game now. But it was that, and then there was a Walking Dead game this was before I was actually in the hobby that I played like one of the original ones where it was you were just
Foldable playmat in the
Yeah.
box. Yeah, it was
yeah
not great.
that was horrible. I think they were the only two that I really said, "Nah, I never want to touch these again." Yeah, I can't think of any other one.
I got a lot. I got a lot of them. Quite a lot.
I've always been stunned when certain games get published, but whatever.
Well, no, that's a
There must be
different
somebody
story.
out there that likes them. So
That's something different. That I run into that a lot. But I mean, just like games that I say, "Nah, I never want to touch again." I've ran into many games where it's like, yeah, I don't get why they publish this. But it's just the name of the game we're in right now. It's not only the board games, just like I was saying earlier. It's TV and music and movies. It's everything right now. Just throwing shit on the wall, hoping something sticks.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where like you always I know we've had those discussions where it's like a game like and like nobody's enjoying it. I mean, I just remember like, and then there was always like games that people like really liked, and I always wondered, it's like, and you hate to be like, well, how did you ever like this game? You don't have that attitude, but it's you end up kind of like, not that like, I don't know, better or something like that, but
No, you're just exposed to it more. That's all.
yeah, I guess. It's just a little bit crazy, in my opinion, that like you'll be sitting there and it's just like I remember there was that Dice City game. Do you guys remember that game?
Dice City. Sounds familiar. Also sounds very generic.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I love Dice City.
Yeah, so for whatever reason, I could never figure out how that game was fun. I tried playing it like 2 or 3 times and it never was enjoyable to me. I don't know what it was.
I think
Just-
Space Base surpassed it, but I like Dice City.
Yeah, just I don't know.
I remember.
And it wasn't because the game was bad, because there was like, they had like 17 expansions for the damn thing. So obviously there was a
Yeah.
following for it, but I never understood. I never understood why people love that game. It just didn't make any sense to me.
You played Space Base?
Yeah, I played Space Base.
You like Space Base?
It's okay.
I feel like they're in the same lane.
Yeah.
Whole upgrade your city, rolling the dice, trying to hit it.
It's just people's taste things. Like I don't understand that one with the birds, with the Stegmeyer one.
Wingspan.
Wingspan. I don't understand that, but
X.
people love it.
Still have
Yeah.
not played that one.
I only played it once. It's not one that I say I never want to play it again, but I don't get the appeal to it, but again, it's my taste in gaming.
Have we talked about Farm Race? Was I here for that?
I don't believe so. What is farm race?
I did a Kickstarter critique for this today, and I was a little harsh. I called it idiotic and stupid what they did, because they got a cease and desist from Stonemaier Games because they were essentially selling a promo pack of cards, which actually doubled as like cards for other games. Like they didn't double; they were just cards for other games. They had a promo card pretty much that they made that you would put into Wingspan, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, how did you fucking think this was gonna go? Like, did you think they were just gonna be cool with that, adding like nuclear missiles to fucking Wingspan? Like it's so mind-boggling to me that they were like, yeah, this will be fine. And so they pulled their Kickstarter down. They lost a lot of momentum too, because I remember I saw a boatload of advertisements on Facebook for this, which all that money's pretty much flushed down the toilet. Granted, you're hopefully going to get people coming back for the second Kickstarter, but it was so mind-boggling to me because it's from one of the creators of Cards Against Humanity too. Like I figure there's like it's just common sense. Like, no, obviously there's going to be somebody who's going to be like, hey, don't do that to my game. And I want to get your thoughts on that, Lance. Like somebody comes out, Champions of Midgard promo card, completely just like that. You said no, or let me rephrase that. You had no idea. They were like, all right, we got this tongue in cheek card, you mix it with Champions of Midgard. How do you imagine a company would handle that? Or just say any generic game company with a popular.
Well, I mean,
evergreen game.
most
Let's not
game
go-
companies would be like, well, one, you should have asked for permission, and then
Yeah.
said, hey, for everyone we sell, we'll give you some money. And then most people would be like, yeah, I mean, that's fine as long as like you had some input into it.
Yeah, that seems like duh. Like duh. You reach out to the company first. Like that's what's like that seems stupid, idiotic. Like you're in the industry. You're one of the people who create Cards Against Humanity. Get your head out of your ass. You should know this. Like you should have an idea that, oh, maybe I reach out to Wingspan, which has sold hundreds of thousands of copies. the Stonemaier. It was so perplexing to me that yeah.
Do these two games have any other kind of like the designer?
Oh no.
To each other somehow.
It's supposed to be Catan with nukes. It looks like one of those games from someone who played about 20 games and was like, oh yeah, I can do this way better. Like one of those games.
No, I thought maybe
it looks fun, but
there was some tie in between somebody behind the scenes under two games. But yeah, it's really odd and kind of stupid.
I don't know if I was off base there. It's just like it just feels like, yeah, like because the way I see it is disconnect that game, and if it was just a Kickstarter for a promo pack of cards that had promos for a bunch of other different games, like I feel like it's immaterial that it's connected to their game. It's just duh. Like obviously like well, no, I mean obviously if you don't have permission from people, like if you just came out with a fucking Munchkin card, like yeah, it would be like what the hell? You can't, like, what are you doing? Just seems so obvious to me that like you should, as you put it, reach out to the people first.
Well, it is ballsy. Got a lot of balls.
lot of balls.
Well, I'm glad they got slapped down.
Another money.
I shouldn't say that because blah blah blah, but I'm glad. I think it sets a bad precedent.
They did get slapped down.
Oh yeah, they got a cease and
Cease and
desist. The
desist,
Kickstarter got shut down. I'm pretty sure it was doing way better, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now it's down to like 80 or something. Like it definitely seemed to stun a little bit of their momentum. They're still making 80 grand. Like it's still doing good money.
Well, how if they got a cease and desist from the Kickstarter? How are they still going?
They took away the
They
promo
took
pack.
a lot of promo. They got cease and desist on the cards, not the Kickstarter.
From what I understand, it was going, and I didn't get a chance to cover it. I was actually going to cover it before they got the cease and desist, and they got the cease and desist, and they took it down. But it was going to be like daily reveals, I'm pretty sure, where there was this extra pack you could get, and it was like an add-on, like the deluxeified version, because the deluxeified version kind of sucks. Like it feels pretty bare bone. It's like, oh, you get a dice mat, and you get an extra blah blah blahs. And I think this was supposed to be a big supplement there. It's like, oh, we'll have a card for this game, and a card for this game, and a card for this game, and you pay the extra $40, you get the deluxe version, you get our game, plus you get this promo pack, and yeah. From what I understand, I did not actually see the original Kickstarter page. I just read through some of the drama.
Oh well, that's secondhand. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not secondhand. Like they're just talking about what happened. But yeah, I didn't actually see the Kickstarter. But
You play telephone. You know what happens in that game. Yeah. One person hears something, somebody else reads something else. But if that is what happened, that's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
81.
Oh,
it just
I
doesn't
well, I
make
mean,
sense.
everybody wants to make a buck, baby.
It's all money grab. But pretty plastic. And screw over the next guy.
so I was pretty proud of one of my videos I shot this week. I want to brag about it a little bit.
All right. Was it something about a new a sink cleaner?
No. I had the I don't know if somebody's already done it, but I had the idea of doing a trick shot where I was trying to get a game on my shelf. So I was like chucking the game from across the room, trying to fit it into a small slot, and I got it in. Like I got it's like a fantasy, it was a Ticket to Ride size box. I chucked it like a frisbee and hit it into this little narrow spot. I destroyed the shit out of the box, but I was super proud of it because it was a hard shot. And somehow the top of the box ripped off. And so only the bottom of the box got into this little slide. It's very, very impressive. I'm gonna do some more trick shots with like some popular name games like Monopoly, Scrabble, stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty proud of it. Pretty proud of that video.
So I hate to here, hold on a second. I'm gonna show you this. Board Game Atlas, baby. Board game trick shots.
Is it better than mine though?
I don't know.
Wait,
They're not around anymore anyway because they're shutting down. But
is that the one that ripped off Board Game Geek?
Yeah.
I love saying that. It's so good. Because I know somebody else won't say it, but I will.
Yeah, somebody else won't.
Board game trick shots. Well, good. I'm ripping off them. Oh, you can't see it because it's notice of closure. Okay, whatever. Well, guess I won't see that.
Board Game Trick Shot 2 is a video you can watch, baby.
Board game trick shot 2.
Just got
Let's see. Jesus, this is a lot of lead up to the damn. Oh, yeah, they're not destroying the game though. Yeah, this is okay. They're trying to throw stuff into the game. No, I'm chucking this motherfucker at my. I actually damaged a couple other games trying to throw it in there. Yeah, they're throwing stuff into the box. I'm trying to throw the box onto my shelf. I'm not impressed by
This
this.
is a totally different game.
Oh no, it is. It is. They're like throwing cards into the box. No, I'm chucking the box like a frisbee into there.
He's playing the pros, damn it.
All right, I'm not even stealing his idea. I am planning an unboxing video soon where I unbox a game with a guitar, and it's just me smashing the game with a guitar. I'm pretty excited about that one.
Why would you fuck up a guitar like that?
No. It's like this cheap kid's guitar, but it looks like a real one.
Oh,
Pretty excited about that one. Gonna bust something.
my neighbor bought this little cheap guitar for his kid, a little kid guitar, 3/4 scale one, and
Yep.
it was missing a couple strings. So he came over. He said, "Do you have any extra strings?" I was like, "Nah, the gauges I have would tear her fingers apart. They're probably too thick." He said, "All right, I'll just buy another one." I'm like, "Why? The strings are like $5 a pack." He's like, "Oh, it's a cheap guitar, blah, blah, blah. It's used." I was like, "There's nothing wrong with used guitar." And I was like, "Do you know the guitarist Kurt Hammett of Metallica?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "The guitar he recently uses all the time now is called the Greenlee. This guitar has been on many, many recordings. Fleetwood Mac, Cream, a bunch of other ones." The guy who originally had it was in a car, and the guitar was in a case in the back of the car. The car ran out of gas, and him and his manager were walking up the road to get, to a gas station. Somebody came from behind, hit the guitar. The guitar was smashed into 24 pieces. They put it back together, and Kurt Hammett still uses it today. That happened 30 years ago. I was like, so don't tell me there's something wrong with used guitars if it's a decent guitar. But I'm like, I can't understand your mindset on that. Instead of spending $5 on strings, you'd rather just go spend, whatever on a new guitar.
Does he know how to string a guitar?
No, he doesn't. That's why they came to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
but
this is like the exact situation. I have a guitar that sounds very similar to what you are that I'm gonna smash just because I don't know how to string it back up. Actually, you know what? Mine's actually more beat up now that I think about it. Like, it's missing one of those things that you twist and.
Yeah, you
the
could just
tuners,
watch a YouTube video and
yeah, he
and-
could have, but I could see where he's going to push the kid off onto me eventually. I can see what's happening here. I'm not stupid, but I'm just going to tell, don't go nuts until the kid decides he's going to stick with it, or she. It's Lily. She's going to stick with it. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just. I was like, you're going to have to learn a little bit about this. Like, even I will if I'm going to show the kid or anything, because it's different. What I'm doing. Like I said, the gauge strings I'm using will probably tear her fingers apart. I'm actually thinking about going to a heavier gauge. But yeah, it's just, I don't understand the excess people have today. Just the wastefulness, at times like that. It's just weird to me.
If you got the money, sometimes it's just more convenient to buy it than fix it. Man.
Some complex, I got, but $5 set of strings. It's different. It's
Yeah, but it's also the idea of fixing it, Like there's a lot of fixes around my house that I'm sure if I really looked into it, it's quick, simple,
yeah,
probably cheap. But it's
Yeah.
the idea of like, all right, I gotta do that thing, I get that.
it could be that. It could be. I don't know. Oh, the Lorcana thing. Is that what the Disney card thing? I was
Yeah.
watching it. The rat's going to rape me again in January, so I've been gearing up to see how the changes have come to Disney World. And one of the things I was watching actually mentioned that they sold the Lorcana in, I think it was Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom in Disney World. I'm not sure exactly if it was all 4 parks in Disney World or not, but regardless, they were totally wiped out within an hour or whatever. So apparently they're going to have supply issues on this, and I think it'll die just like that Dice Masters died. Getting back to the Lorcana from last week. What do you think, Forrest? Yeah, I know you were hyped. I think you were the one that was hyped about it.
Oh no, I don't give a shit about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be dead. It'll be dead in like 3 or 4 years.
I think
minimum.
it's dead now. 'cause
Maximum.
Nobody could get it. Yeah.
Not ideal.
No, tis not.
Oh,
I'm hurting today. It's been
What?
raining.
no.
The back, the neck, the knee. The weeds not helping as well. I got smoke more, but I got a grievance about that too. I had to re-up my license. Before I went to a physical building, I sat there. We discussed things with the doctor. They fill out the paperwork. I gave them a credit card on my way, got shipped to my house a couple weeks later. Now I got to do it over the phone. And this happened, it's been going on since the shutdown, the pandemic. But I was talking to the doctor this time. Now I got to do all the paperwork myself, first off, not only from them, but from the state. And then the doctor was like, the doctor that I used to use got bought out by this company. It's like, Jesus, this is like, this bothers me traveling too. It's just, there's so much gray shit in this. I hope that it gets legalized eventually, and the government steps in and organizes this and shit. But it's just it seems like a scam to me. It's an expensive one too. It costs about 170 just for the doctor visit. The state only wants $50.
How they want it. They want it to be
Scammers.
unclear.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's legal recreationally now everywhere around me. Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware is, and Maryland is going to be, or if it isn't, it is already. I don't understand why it's still not, like more standardized.
Pharmaceutical companies make too much money.
No, they're not. Not this is private industry shit. This is it's a shame. Like the old school guys got pushed out of this industry completely.
It's big lumber. They're
No,
at the
it's
bottom of it.
big weed basically. It's all farmers. Like there's a grow place down here in Maryland. He was a farmer. They legalized it medically in Maryland, and he just switched crops basically. Yeah, but like the old school guys in California and all that who used to do it before it became legal, they all got pushed out. Now it's big companies. Like they were telling me this one in Maryland, the guy I was talking to, Bob, who was a sheriff down there, he was telling me they got like fences that know if you touch it and it'll show off. There's billion-dollar, security things. It's very, very big money. And being that it's not federally regulated, the taxes are really weird. Like banks, they had to make certain banks just to take the money and stuff like this because they couldn't take it to a regular bank. It's illegal. it's a lot of gray areas, and I just wish they would get it straightened out and standardized, especially the traveling stuff. Some states I can go to with it, some states I can't. It's like carrying a gun. It's a pain in the ass. But
You
again,
worry about this a lot?
when I'm traveling, yeah.
This is medicine, man. This is medicine.
Yeah, it's I'm
I
not
mean-
taking it to get high. It's I'm using it for pain relief and basically to eat because I'm always nauseous, shit like that. Move in general, I got arthritis.
Lance doesn't like to hear about that part of the marijuana. He likes to imagine it's for the smooth,
it's for-
dopey,
yeah.
but yes.
It's no different than if you took a Vicodin, or in my opinion, well, it's safer to me, but in my opinion, it's the same thing. You're not taking it to get stoned. You're taking it for pain or whatever. Yeah.
He's talking about people like me.
He's talking about people like you, but even that, that the
I
stuff
use-
that Forrest is looking for, the high THC stuff, that helps people with anxiety and PTSD people.
Helps with
stuff
my
like that.
wrist.
That's more the CBD. Yeah. But yeah, if I go now, I'm not worried about it so much going to Pennsylvania, but every time I crossed the border, if I got pulled over, it was a chance I was going to jail or getting a fine or something. Yeah.
All it takes is one cop who really,
Yeah.
really gives a shit.
No, it's not even that. The cop's got to bug up his ass or something. Is most of the time. You know, it's cops are on a, you know, just like anybody else, one at a time.
Except
But
they
yeah.
can carry guns and imprison people.
Yeah,
Other
but
than that, they're just like everybody else.
most of them take their responsibility seriously. You know, most of them aren't gun happy or, you know, just lock people up happy. Yeah, most. And again, I got a scar to prove, not all. You know. But yeah, that was like when I went to Texas, instead of flying, I drove because of the weed. You know, I'd rather take my chances on the cops than going through the airport. When I went on the cruise, I took a really big chance because I was in international water, and that's why I only took a few joints, which I really needed more of. But it's just a pain in the ass. Yeah.
Yup. I feel it.
Is it legal where you are, Forrest? I know it is
Completely. No medical.
It's
No nothing.
recreational now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Indiana does not want that money. They'd much rather say, go give it all to Michigan, and pretty soon go give it to Illinois. Go give it to Ohio, who's voting on it pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're still pretty deep red most of the places.
Well, most states it is legal medically in some form. Yeah, it's hemp has a lot of CBD. It's like a sister plane of weed, and that's legal throughout the country. There was actually a bill passed on that, and even that, if it's the laws are different here than say in Delaware, Jersey, or Pennsylvania, wherever. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Then again, I do remember with the narcotics, it was similar. If I had to get a prescription filled in another state, there was a lot of stuff I'd have to go through when I was on well, you name it, the Percocet, Oxycontin, fentanyl, whatever.
Were you less concerned about taking that across just because it wasn't as pungent smell wise?
Taking the opioids?
Yeah.
I didn't smoke the weed when I was on the opioids. I don't think the smell would have bothered me. Even when I'm around, I take a little thing of spray, you know, to cover it when I'm around a lot of people, just because I know it bothers some people. You know, I did that even, you know, with the smoking.
Anytime I smell somebody who smells like weed, I just bask it in, and I just love it. I really do. Every time I'm with my wife and we pass somebody at Walmart, I'm like, they're having a good trip. They're enjoying this trip to Walmart.
That's one thing with people who are always on weed. You know, there's never arguments usually. Usually it's over food, but other than that, there's no arguments. Everybody's happy-go-lucky usually. You know. Nah, but The opioids were easier, just because it's federally, if a cop pulled me over with a bottle of pills, they weren't going to mess with me usually.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're way more destructive than weed is. I actually think alcohol is way more destructive than weed is, in my personal opinion. But
made a lot more poor choices on
Yeah.
alcohol than I ever did on weed.
yeah,
Not even effing close.
Oh,
but like I said, it's safer for now. I mean, there's always the lung issues, and I could take it orally. I just don't like that. I never, when I was on the opioids, they did that time release stuff, and I never liked that because it's always in my system. I'd rather take it when I need it. Yeah. Then it jacks up my stomach sometimes. Them gummies, or not the gummies, the tinctures, especially the tinctures.
the lectures.
Tinctures is when they infuse weed in either alcohol or oil, the coconut oil, and then you take it like the old timers did and dropped it for them. They're doing all sorts of shit with weed. Like, I mean, you could get it in any kind of form you want. You could get it in edibles. You could get it in drinks. You could get it any way you want. Like a sugar substitute, because Whitey got involved. They got popular. Now everybody's involved. There's all sorts of. Hulk Hogan has a brand. Mike Tyson has a brand. Jameel White has a brand. Urkel, he had a brand. James Belushi has a brand. Everybody has a brand. Snoop Dogg, apparently, of course. Woody Harrelson. All right, I'm off my weed rant. Have you ever smoked weed, Lance?
Never done a drug in my life other than drinking, and in college I like the thing was to play we'd sit up and play Nintendo all night and we'd chew tobacco. That was the only thing I ever did.
Why is that just
Just never had any desire to.
never desire? Yeah. Huh. But you tried alcohol. Why is that? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I used to when I was a kid.
It was around more.
No, when I was a kid, I would I don't know, I always loved it. I always liked the taste of beer. Whenever my dad had a beer and I was like 10, 11, I'd always ask him for a sip and he'd give me a sip of beer. And I always thought it tasted good. I did, but I didn't drink until I never actually drank and got drunk until I was like 19.
I was young when I got drunk. Irish family. It's a rite of passage when you're 3. Yeah, I wonder about I've been around all sorts of shit, like drinking and the smoking. Weed was always my uncle smoked out around us when we were young. Then later on the heroin and all that. And I've been on a lot of that shit at one point in time or another. But I was, if I hadn't been, I wonder if, I would try it. It just, I'm curious how some people go for one thing and don't, for another.
It was everywhere when I was a teenager. I grew up in a really shitty trailer park.
I grew up, yeah.
It was a rich school, but it was a poor trailer park. So we got the kids with the money mixing with the kids without the money. So good, dabbled in a lot of alcohol, a lot of weed, a little bit of coke.
Yeah, that's how basically the rich kids with poor. That's how I got exposed to coke and heroin. I would have never. Well, maybe get coke, but not heroin. Probably.
Yeah, coke's fun.
Yeah.
I never had any desire to do heroin. Just the thought of being jacked, being screwed up and like stabbing myself with a needle. I'm just like,
Oh no, I never did that. I smoked it or snorted it. Different. I wouldn't inject it.
I'm glad I didn't do that. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, no, I've seen half my friends died of heroin when I was a kid. I mean, it went through my neighbor. Well, first it was
So one?
No, I had many friends unlike you, Lance. I don't argue with people all the time.
I want to compliment Lance on taking the swing on
Yes.
the joke. Hey, dead friend joke. Here we go. That's a ballsy joke. I appreciate
better answer have been, well, how did it feel when that one person died? Just, no, I remember I was multiple times when I was working at US Bank, I had people approach me and ask them to sell them drugs, to the point where I thought that like somebody within the corporation was actually like trying to get me fired. Like they were like, we're pretty sure he's a drug dealer, so we're just gonna send all these people to go ask what they buy. You know,
That's entrapment, bro.
just I thought for sure that was the case, but now multiple times people asking me for anything. They asked me for pills. They asked me for, you know,
They
they
do
asked,
security
they asked me for
concerts.
coke. Weed was the big thing. They always came over and they were like, you know, hey, it would be like, hey, you know, can I talk to you for a second? I was like, yeah, what's going on? You know, it's like, I mean, do you know if does your guy, my sources are dried up, you know, do you see? I was like, what are you talking about? And then they get all weird about it. They'd be like, oh Jesus. Yeah, I was like,
You're not a narc, are you?
dude, I don't do drugs. And they're like, oh, it's just like, don't worry about it, don't care, you know, just whatever, you know, just moving on with my life now. I remember I remember that was like, then they asked, I asked, oh, and there was a guy I knew, man, the place I worked at, US Bank, and there was so many weirdos that were there. There was a girl that we worked with that in this department that I was in, there was like 5 of us, and our whole job was like scheduling and real-time management, and basically being the people that overwatched everybody. And then this we were sitting there, and all of a sudden all these people came in. There was this girl we worked with, and she was kind of a bee. She wasn't fun to work with at all. And then like came in and they found out that like she had like logged into, like they had all this tracking that she had logged into all of her both her credit card accounts and her checking accounts that were with US Bank. And that's like a huge no-no. Like if they find out that you've logged into your own accounts, you know, it's immediate dismissal. I mean, there's like, because literally, like you could go into like the way that, because all the programming was open source, you could go into your checking account and just say, yeah, I have $10,000, you know, and just change like the amount of money that you have, like falsify deposits and things like that. So there was a huge thing where, you know, we would always hear about, every once in a while somebody, you'd find out about somebody who like went into their credit card account with US Bank and they raised their credit limit by like $30,000 so they could go out and buy a bunch of shit, you know, stuff like that. You know, you'd find out about, yeah, but this girl, like kind of like that thing, like they found out that she had, and she swore up and down that she didn't do it, except like it was her login key, it was all of her information. She swore up and down that somebody was framing her. It wasn't the truth. And they were like, well, sorry, see you later. It was like literally like they brought in like 2 security officers. I mean, I thought she was getting arrested, but they bounced her out, which, okay, fine, whatever. You know, we kind of sucked because we lost like 20% of our team, and our job was kind of tough to get trained in on. So it took a good 3 months to get somebody up to date on like how to control basically 1,000 people doing a job and watching these screens, like in real time managing these people and what they were doing. And but I remember then like 4 or 5 days later, this guy came up to me and he was like, oh, hey, where's so and so? And I was like, she's, you know, she got fired, you know, I mean, you know, she got let go, and why? And I was like, I really can't talk about it. And he's like, dang it. And I was like,
some drugs.
No. She was so, and this is horrible. I mean, and for the life of me, I can't remember this woman's name. And this is like, mind you, this is Oh my gosh, I worked for US Bank for nearly 17 years, and I've worked now in the board game industry for almost 9. So, I mean, this is like 15 years ago. So think of the internet 15 years ago. Think of the internet in like 2000. It would be like 2006 or 2008. It'd be right around there. So, the internet existed, but it's not nearly like what it is now, right? As far as the things you can do with it, whatever. And like, she was on a bunch of weird, like, message forums and things like that were like basically like adult meetup message boards. And he's like, yeah, so like and he was like sitting there, I found her and I was gonna, basically, and then he showed me, and like she had like posted like lots of not safe for work photos of herself on all these things, and he was like, basically he wanted to like see if she wanted to go out sometime, kind of thing, which consenting adults go crazy, whatever, who are you to judge, that kind of thing. I'm not trying to shame anybody for enjoying adult, but it was one of those shocking things, because at that point things like Tinder just didn't exist or anything like that.
Craigslist, baby. Craigslist casual encounters. Oh my god. I used to check that on a daily basis when I used to work factory work, because I used to get off at like 2 a.m. Man, I'd be on there for like 2-3 hours a night trying to get something for after work.
Did you ever run into somebody you knew on that?
Yeah, a couple times.
How did that work out? Was it embarrassing or?
No, we had sex.
Okay, I was just curious.
That was the best. It's like, oh shit, really? Like, hey, what's up? Twice, I should say, not a couple.
Twice,
a couple times.
Yeah, I was just curious how.
But I used to prowl that stuff all day.
No, and
I never did any of that.
No, neither did I. I just,
No.
call me crazy. I ask girls out on dates.
It was before
I would do
our
that
time, I
as
think.
well. This was you don't get herpes by not going and slumming around, man. Well, I mean, I guess you can.
Got to work for herpes, damn it!
I earned my HSV.
Herpes.
No. So, and then what was the other one? It was like, and I mean, because there's all kinds of crazies.
Yahoo
like
chat was a good one. That was a good one.
People would. I remember one guy flat out asked me if I had cocaine, and I was like, "Dude, I don't do drugs."
You look like a biker.
And he just said, he said, "Yeah, you do," and I was like, "No, I actually don't. I don't do drugs." He's like, okay. He's like, and then like about like 20 minutes later, he's like, "Come on, just how much do you want? How much for, he started like spouting all these terminologies that I had no idea what he was talking about. I was like, dude, it's like I don't do coke. It's just like I don't do any drugs. It's like I don't know. It's just like, and it was weird. And he was like kind of a higher up guy too. I was just kind of like, no. And it was that was a really, really weird job to have. It was like this weird combination of like college graduates / like 40 to 50-year-old people, and then like this constant revolving influx of like 19 through 22-year-old people that would come in and work like the crummy phone jobs. And it was like, and they would mix, and it was like, so you had these people that like, well, I'm just going to work here while I'm going to college for like the next 9 months, and I'm going to go home, and who cares about this job? They had that. And then it was just like, and then there was just all kinds of inappropriate fraternization going on constantly. Like, and there were like these 3 bars that were close to where it was, and that was like everybody would just, and the thing was, it was like weird. It was like I always had like a steady girlfriend, so I was never in these like big giant hootenanny parties with all this like scandalous behavior going on. And and again, I'm not there's no judgment here. I mean, it's just they're all consenting adults from what I understood, but there was
Dude, Yahoo Personals back in the day, man.
yeah, you're still reminiscing.
I remember.
Still
Oh, dude, and I
reminiscing.
remember my buddy George. My buddy George told me about this new site called Plenty of Fish, and oh my god, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Boom, you're done. Like it was over.
I don't even know what you mean by copy paste. But
You would get one message, and you would copy it and paste, 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 paste. You send out like 50 messages. You'd be good. You get dates. You get dates for the night. I mean, it was God. And I can't even imagine Tinder, man. I couldn't imagine Tinder. Never got a chance for that one, but man.
yeah,
God.
I don't know. See, can we made a big extension, like I never want to do anything with people I work with outside of work. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think what it was everybody hated their jobs so much at the bank that the ability to go somewhere and complain bitterly about it with people that understood how crummy it was very cathartic.
I mixed business with pleasure at every single job I have ever had, and it never ended well.
Yeah, it
Once.
usually doesn't.
Like,
And I think most people are like that. I don't, that's
Actually-
companies and things about it, but
when I was an ice cream man, that was the one exception where it didn't matter because we were in our own van, so whatever. We just saw it to it. But every other job, man, it was always a bad idea. It was always a really good idea until it became a really bad idea.
yeah, we
I
did it
remember- I
once.
mean, really, the
One job.
only person I ever really dated that I worked with was my wife. So I mean,
Got lucky, man, because it is awkward as hell when it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I didn't have that. I worked with a bunch of dudes a lot of times. They just weren't my type. I didn't have that problem. So
You need to be more progressive, Barry.
Now back then, I'd probably get the shit kicked out of me. But if I were progressive, it was in the '90s. Contracting, and then on the trains, not much better there.
yeah, I don't know.
I was
I
actually
just-
thinking about the train. I'm glad I'm not there now. They're on
Oh, and then I remember-
investigation.
Then I remember, I was sitting there working like at my job, like because it was a 24/7, 7 days a week place, and we had 3 different call centers. That's why you had to control like 1,000 people, because there was a call center in Kansas, a call center in Idaho, and a call center in Fargo, and you'd monitor all 3 of them. And so like, but on Saturdays, they would have to have somebody in there from 11 to 8, and you'd have to go in and work, and it just sucked. And you had to do one Saturday a
Ugh.
month.
Saturday, 11 to 8.
Yeah, it's just like when it just sucked when you had to do it, right? And so it was just like, all right, so but I remember I was sitting there, and a guy that worked in my, and this is like after like that one girl got let go for doing her thing, and then but then we got we got somebody else up there who was okay. And, she's kind of a baby too, but she worked hard, and that's all that really mattered. And just so you didn't have somebody else that you had to pick up the slack on. And I remember I would be sitting there, and then I was just sitting there on a Saturday, and I was just kind of like, just listening to the radio and doing my thing, and all of a sudden this guy that I worked with, who was like a good buddy of mine, that worked in the thing, and I was like, dude, what you doing here? And he's like, oh,
Gonna buy drugs?
no, he said, and he meant, I'm leaving all names out of the equation here.
Was it Dan?
He said, he said, oh, so and so called, which was our like boss's boss, called and asked me to come in here because they wanted to talk to me. And I was like, you know what it's about? And he kind of looked at me and he goes, well, I don't think I'm getting a promotion. And I was like, and he just said, I think I'm getting fired.
Is that a verb? Promotion?
And he's like, I think I'm getting fired. And I was like, oh. He's like, but if it's for what I know, I probably deserve it. And so then, like, all of a sudden, my boss's boss comes in with my boss, with a like basically an like an officer of the bank. You know, they're like, and I'm like, oh Jesus, you know, I'm just like, oh, I'm just sitting here on my computer, no, not paying any attention. You know, I don't want to say anything. And then, you know, after about, it was like after like less than 20 minutes, they were walking about the door. And then like my boss's boss just came up and just said, hey, so and so no longer works with US Bank. I need you to delete their security information. I need you to delete all the stuff and take care of that for me. And I was like, okay. And then I remember my boss's boss said, he came when I came back the next day, he's like, hey, just so you know, like on Monday when I came back to work, he's like, just so you know, I'm very impressed that you didn't ask me what it was for. Most people would have. You know, it's like, because you know, I you know, it's just like, and in the back of my head, I was like, yeah, no problem. And the back of my head was, I fucking texted him. You know, I was like, I knew you wouldn't tell me, but I knew he would. So, like, ultimately, like, he was working there one day on a Saturday, and a like friend, a woman, whatever, approached him, and she said, I got a really, really bad headache. Do you have any? And this is his story. It could be very screwed up what it was. I have a really bad headache. Do you have any aspirin or anything? And he said, well, no, but I do have some of my son's ADHD medication. And like, and he says,
I
and
don't see how that goes to.
Yeah, what?
That's what he said. That's what he said. He goes, and that usually takes care of my headaches really well. And I don't know what it was. And then what happened was,
Dude's got a problem.
So what he was doing was he was using it to self-medicate himself, and he was addicted to it.
Yeah.
And then he got this girl addicted to it. And then he had just like broken up with his long-term girlfriend who he had this kid with. And then so basically, like, whenever this girl like wanted any drugs, he was basically propositioning her to like come over to his place, and they were hooking up at work and things.
So he's being a drug dealer. He's being a plug.
Yeah, yeah. And so then,
basically,
it's gotta be MO.
he's a pimp.
So finally one day at work, she just like, yeah, she broke because then he called it off, and he was like, I don't want to mess around with you anymore, because he got another girlfriend or whatever, like somebody that he just wasn't gonna deal drugs to. And then so she was at work, and she was, you know, addicted or whatever, and she couldn't get the pills. And so then she started missing work because she didn't want to be there, because she's embarrassed that she's been doing stuff for drugs for a while. And then it was just like, and then she came into work and started crying and said, and then told the whole story to, you know, and somebody in HR, and then he got fired. And I've always wondered, out of that whole story, I'm just like, okay, fine, that was an incredibly shitty thing for this guy to do. You know, I mean, it's just like, and I'm not defending his actions in any way, shape, or form, but I'm also like, isn't that criminal? I mean, I was always like, isn't that like, oh yeah, I'm like, I'm letting this, I'm having this person do sexual things for me in exchange for the.
I don't think it is, Lance. It's consensual.
Well, I don't know. It's like, it's weird. It's like in exchange for the medication that I am stealing from my son. It's just I mean, it's like
the son part's the illegal part, but the rest of it's consensual.
I was like, I don't know. That just seemed like it was incredible. Well, I mean, it was slimy. I don't know if it was legal or not. But I was just kind of like, and yeah, you cut bait with that guy, and you move on with your life, and you just, you know, and I never knew what happened to her, but he ended up like actually cleaning himself up, and the girl that he had started dating, like, she stuck with him, and they're married now, and they have a couple kids, and like he went to rehab, and now he's a social worker, and you know,
a lot of people do that.
Yeah, everything worked out, you know, for the best. But
yeah, that's embarrassing. Like when I was at the union, I had to escort a couple of people out for shit, like personal shit like that. I never understood why they did that in front of everybody. You know, I didn't.
What are you supposed to do? Like balloon them on off from the roof so nobody can see? I mean, it's just
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do it in front. You know, you can wait till lunchtime or something to confirm. You know, shit like that. It's pageantry to me. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't like about.
But yeah, nothing gets people back in line when they see one of their own being walked out the door. I mean, it's kind of puts the fear of God into people.
But this guy didn't do anything affecting the company. I mean, it's like this is personal shit. It wasn't, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I really towards the end I just hated my job at US Bank.
Most people do.
I wanted to. I'd walk in that place and I'd just be like, what if I fell down the stairs and they had to like pay my, you know, and I could somehow prove that it was slippery.
They back then. Now they got you on camera. You couldn't do
Oh,
it if
yeah,
you
I
wanted. Yeah. Actually, when I left, we were just starting to install the cameras. Bullshit. I was thinking about that. I missed the job. I don't miss the company, and I'm glad I'm not there now. Like I said, they're under investigation right now, and I'm actually wondering if I'm past the statute of limitations. But I do miss the job.
I was at my the Taekwondo studio for my son's ceremony for his black belt, and my dad was there. My dad turns 80 here in September. And I was sitting there and we were talking about whatever, and I got my new phone, trying to make it work or whatever, and he was just watching weird videos on it. And he was watching things about like World War II planes and things like this, something an old guy does. And which I'm old too, because I watch stuff about World War II planes as well. But and then he was sitting there and he said to me, he's like, you know, I sometimes I get these videos that show up like they're like watch this plane crash and stuff like that. And I always think, who wants to watch that stuff? I was like, Dad, who wants to slow down in front of it, watch a car wreck when you go by? And he's like, oh yeah, I suppose that's right. I was like, morbid curiosity, Father. Yeah, yeah. I mean, people just have a we like to see accidents happen in slow motion.
That's why they had blinders on the train.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that, what was it, like 3 years ago or 2 years ago? They it was what was it? It was in Texas or Colorado or something, where those cops pulled that woman over because I don't know what they suspected her of, but then it took them a long time to pull over. And so they presumed that she had like something in the car that they didn't something illegal, right?
Right.
And so so she finally pulls over and they three cop cars pull over and they get her out of the car and she's like, what's going on? And they're like, why did it take you so long for you to pull over? And she said she didn't notice. And then they handcuff her and throw her in the back of one of like the SUV, one of the things there was. And then they start searching her car because they're like, well, you know, she must have had something and she threw it out and they're looking for it. And they're like, did she roll down a window and throw it out? She must have something. Does she have a weapon? Does she have this? Because they found out after they pulled her ID, like she had a previous thing where she like during an argument she had pulled out a gun and like during an argument. So they're like, you know, she must, you know, probably a legal weapon. Well, yeah, I'm not laughing because I shouldn't laugh, but unfortunately the cops left like handcuffed her and locked her in the back seat of a car that was parked on the railroad tracks in the middle of the night.
Ooh.
And all of a sudden you hear the siren, the horn go off, and they're like, what's that? They look and they see and you can see the cop is like running towards the thing to get her out, and they're like, and he just backs up. He's like, ooh. Yeah. And you can see and you can hear her screaming in the car, and then just bam, the train hits it. The thing flew like a half a mile. Thankfully, she didn't die, but she suffered like, you know.
Damn lucky she didn't die.
Yeah. She suffered, you know, multiple broken bones, contusions, all these things, and it's just like, you know, and it's one of those things where the you know, like the police officers that, you know, put her in the back, like got fired, and her civil her lawsuit is still pending, like 3 years later. You know, they're still working through the courts, you know, that kind of thing. You know, but I mean, it's just one of those things where you're just like, you know, you
see things like that. When I was working on the L, a guy wanted to jump in front of the train, misjudged it, went through the front door, knocked the door off the train, blew it into the inside of the train. The train stopped. He stood up and walked off the train. Yeah. This guy should have been dead. There should have been nothing left of him. Yeah. All because he just misjudged the time. Yeah. You'd be amazed what people can walk through. But they get very, very lucky. Yeah. That cop thing, that should have killed that woman. It's not like the train could have stopped.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't, whenever you hear about, you know, like cops make those mistakes and they're hideous and what have you. And but I always try to remind
That's all you
myself-
do here, though, is the mistakes.
Oh no, yeah, because it doesn't matter if you know, oh, you were the perfect cop for 24 years, but you know, and hey, you know, you can make a mistake with a gun. You know, it's probably a lot worse than if you make a mistake, you know, and
It
you know,
is.
oh, I made the wrong Subway sandwich.
Yeah.
It's there's a big difference there, obviously, but it is
But,
weird.
On that note, like, my neighbor's a cop, and I talked to him a bit.
I was on that note. I had a Subway sandwich. Just
Nah.
Those motherfuckers.
I believe he is a good guy and he is a good cop, but the drug thing, especially not necessarily weed, but the harder stuff, we have very, very different outlooks on it. You know, with him, it's all militarized shit. Take them down. They don't want to be here. Fuck them. And with me, it's like they have a problem. Maybe you should reach out to them. You know, so it depends on the cop. Yeah.
yeah. No, I agree. The vast majority are good people, just trying to do the best job, the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, well,
there are bright apples.
it's almost one. You know, Forrest, do you have any more mind blowing facts you want to lay on us about your crazy life?
Crazy life, man. I'm a stay-at-home dad. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Normal to him. It's not his fault you're sheltered.
No, fair enough. All right, everybody. Thanks. So we did start late, but we should be doing it normal time next week.
No, we aren't.
of
Oh,
course.
you got the draft thing?
Oh, that's right. It'll be late again tomorrow. Late again next week. So thank you for reminding me. Perfect.
How much late?
About an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe not even that, but about an hour is a good guess. So yeah, hour late. Also, this coming Tuesday, the 5th of September, World of Midgard Kickstarter. Back it again. Just make another account. Yeah. So enjoy that. Everybody have a good Labor Day weekend. Be safe.
That's this weekend?
Yeah.
I had no concept of days anymore, though.
I didn't realize this weekend either.
Yeah.
Neither of you work, so I'm not surprised.
Wait,
So,
do the kids have Monday off school? Is that a thing?
yes.
Lance, even if I
Wait.
was working, I wouldn't have any concept because I worked every holiday. So it didn't matter.
Fair enough.